Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. It is slightly later than usual, and um, it's kind of feels like a night cast on both sides actually.
I have all the curtains drawn.
That's true. There is a shine coming off the ground from, I
It's
assume, some
actually
daylight.
extremely brightly lit outside.
Okay, so fake night. That's fine.
That's good, man.
Um,
Well, fake night works better for recording anyway, because that natural light fucks up all your bullshit. I
uh,
hate natural light.
well, the night light makes the fancy streamer lighting stuff look cooler. Like every
Mm-hmm.
time I kill the studio lights in the living room, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
like the backlight. We get that kind of, you know, um, I guess I'm gonna. What do you call it? Like the lighting from
Mood lighting, man.
mood lighting, but it's that lighting from uh uh uh. God, what the fuck was that game called? Not Default. The game with the helmet guy. God, it's gone. Kill
This is
Boss,
great. This is so good.
where
This-
it's all
Kill
it's
the guy with the helmet, and you kill the halo.
no,
Halo lighting.
no, shit. Ruiner,
Ruiner.
ruiner, ruiner.
I can't believe someone in the chat was able to understand what game you're talking about based off of guy with the helmet and the lighting.
No, it's Kill Boss because that I loved that part so much that I changed my name on Twitter to that for a while. So
Oh,
I was like,
okay.
that's a cool name because it's an instruction, but it's also like a sick tag if you want to call yourself the Kill Boss. Yeah, that shit was sick.
So
Anyway,
what's up, man? What's been going on with you, Wooly?
um, okay over here, still in the COVID arc, and not quite fully through it yet. Um, over on as a for anyone who didn't catch it, but we were going to resume our normal schedule, but then unfortunately Reggie caught COVID as well as his SO, so there's going to be continued delays in that regard. I'm gonna wait for him to kind of talk about stuff with that or whatever, but he's not having as smooth a ride as Punch Mom did.
Oh man, that
um,
sucks.
it does suck because you just never know how it's going to hit everybody, and it hits everyone different. But I can, from talking to him about it and stuff, like checking in, and I'm getting, yeah, like he's starting to get over it, but he had a pretty rough couple days. She had a really rough time, so
Yeah, like my dad caught it and then brought it home and gave it to mom, and like my dad fucking walked through it no problem, and it kicked the shit out of my mom.
yeah, so it seems like it's gonna just we'll see how it goes, but like it's not a smoother run. We'll get more updates as we get a bit further in, because at the very least he's it was on yeah he got it on November 1st, so today is day 7. You can actually just count the days into the month, and we'll see how those symptoms go, but so we'll see how that is. But in the meantime, over I've been just filling my time with other stuff that otherwise wouldn't hit the schedule regularly, and it's been an interesting opportunity to just like dive into, I guess, a bunch of current things.
There is
um
so much fucking stuff right now that I made my schedule today, and people are
mhm
like, "What about these 3 things?" And I'm like, "I actually really want to do those things.
mhm
They just happen to all come out alongside this other thing that is more important."
yeah. um and I do, it does feel nice to like touch a couple things that are current that I wanted to, you know for example, Signalis. I started that last week on Tuesday, and I think that's the first game in like 3 years that I've managed to touch before you got to it.
You got to it maybe 5-6 hours, and I started streaming it, and I'm like, wow, I saw Wooly playing Signalis earlier. Did he like it? And then the response came back was, dude, he's still streaming it right now. Oh, okay.
What a great
So
game.
did you like it?
What a cool game. It's so cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah, I feel a very like I can feel the love for obviously everything survival horror related in its setup, but I can feel that there's also probably references to survival horror games that I don't know and I haven't played, but I can tell that there's some of that going on, you know?
There's a lot in there. And so like even if it's not down to and it's not all survival horror. Like the game's art is really obviously very inspired by Fear Effect, a game that you and I talked about like a couple weeks ago, and being like, man, that game looked great. What if it was good? Here's one that's good.
Yes.
Really good.
I was also struggling to recall the name of like what it was kind of reminding me of with the style of anime, but like after the fact I'm like no, the characters, the designs, and the way they kind of look, it's very similar to a Battle Angel Alita. It's got some cues from like that Gundam, you know, as well as Blame.
Yeah.
And just it's doing some really like fun PS2, PS1 in between, but not really of that era. Still low poly stuff because it's better than those eras looked. But it's what your mind thinks those eras might have looked like.
Actually, no. All the first person sections are way better looking than the PlayStation could have handled it all.
The texture quality shoots up, yeah.
I was struggling to come up with the game's visual tone until someone in my chat prompted me because I was like, this looks like the Nostromo expanded out, like the 1979 Alien, like Nostromo expanded out a little bit, and I came across a term that I was not familiar with, which is cassette futurism.
Okay, I like
which
that.
Which is it's the future,
yeah,
but we're still using tape decks and CRTV.
Yep, VHSs, absolutely. That's good. It's heavily defined by those filters and such. And then whenever it cuts to intros or cutscenes or moments, memories, and things like that, it turns into 90s anime direction, specifically leaning towards like things like Ava, where you're hard cutting to full screen kanji. Like, come on, you know, that's a 90s anime flavor, and they're doing it well, you know. Also, like straight up, you're reading the details of characters and the future you're in, the anime space Germany future.
Yeah.
And they straight up are referring to things as gestalts and replicas. And you're like, guys,
come on, man. Come on, that's a little bit
come the fuck on, yeah. But no, it was really, really fun to play, and simple but solid. There's a couple things too as well where I'm like, okay, this radio, the titular signal,
you mean the Metal Gear element they put into the game that used to be story based but is now actually a gameplay element?
Yes, exactly. So that thing is like, I'm playing that and I'm going, I bet you this is probably like gonna be a similar to some survival horror game I didn't play where the radio is a big deal. You know, or like your
No, it's Metal Gear. It's fucking Metal Gear radio.
But the gameplay elements as well, where you have to like put the Morse code up. Okay.
I've genuinely not encountered like kick up or down the radio to fuck with enemies or open locks.
Okay. Because radio in Silent Hill is obviously enemies are nearby.
Yeah, it's an enemy radar. It's a sonar.
And then I don't remember what the release title was, but when I tested it, that Wii game it was called the Phone Game. And it was the horror game where where you have a phone in your hand.
I can't remember what
and the speakers talk to you.
I played it.
Yeah.
I played a bunch of it. I can't remember a goddamn thing.
Literally, the title screen said, "Welcome to the Phone Game." And I'm like, that's not a good game title. And then it turned into what? The Calling, was it? Okay. The Calling.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Sure.
Fine.
So, anyways, has there ever been a stricter inventory than 6 items? Fuck you.
Let me think real hard. So the 6 items.
I can't believe this.
So the 6 items is a reference.
Okay.
Chris in Resident Evil 1. has a 6-item inventory limit.
Mm.
However, and this is important, Chris in RE1 does not have defensive items that go into their own goddamn slot.
Right.
So
Okay.
so Chris's items is actually even more restrictive than Signalis's. That being said, it is that whole inventory system. You have the box and all that. It is very, very much a Resident Evil 1 send up because it recreated a very specific emotion that you get playing Chris's campaign in Resident Evil 1. Not remake, 1,
Mm-hmm.
which is what if I just don't carry any weapons at all? Then I'll be able to pick up everything.
Yeah, yeah. Because when I walked up to, I don't know how far you got. Did you
I
encounter
got
any?
to just about to enter the mines.
Okay. Did you encountered a boss?
I encountered a boss.
Okay. So
And that boss fight between our two streams exemplified our personality changes in a way that could never be adequately explained with words.
how did yours go?
I was told that you one-cycled that boss.
Mm-hmm.
I fought that boss maybe 13 or 14 times because every single time I beat it, I was like, I bet I could do it with less ammunition used. I bet I can run
Wow.
around and pick up every single piece of ammunition in this room and then and kill the boss and only use one health item. And
Wow.
the answer to that is you totally can if you run it a dozen times.
Okay. I did the one cycle also like struggling because I was struggling to understand the rules of what was happening because that one attack it was doing was invisible on my monitor.
Mhm. Oh, good. Oh, great.
You know, so I'm like, oh yeah, okay, nice that yeah, that was one thing. But I guess I don't know. I kind of I thought invisibly that people watching would not want you to load your save and do better in a moment like that, or just like
Can't help
struggle
it.
because that's the point.
I have a disease.
Okay, yeah, I don't
Um,
know. Like I feel like in those moments, because like so with Silent Hill 3, I had that moment, right? But it was
yeah.
specifically after being because I'm super conservative by default with my bullets in games like
Mhm.
this, to the point where people get bothered by it. So then when I went like, all right, let me just use some, and I was like, oh shit, I ran pretty low. I don't. Am I safe? Is this save fucked over? And we kind of ran into that thing. Then I'm like, I don't know whether to go back or not because some people are like, deal with it. That's the whole point. So I'm like, I guess this is the point of the genre. I'll just roll with the punches.
So I should
But I don't know.
mention, because I have a broad history knowledge on this topic, and I'm sick in the head. So Signalis is going for, so its inventory is going for Resident Evil 1 for the
Hmm.
PS1, but its enemy distribution is 100% Resident Evil remake for the GameCube,
Okay.
because enemies won't die. That is a hard line in the
Yes.
sand to make with
Yes.
your survival horror game, is that enemies will not die unless you use a very rare consumable to say, I don't want to have to deal with shit in this room ever again.
So this led to a bit of a perplexing sequence on my end because, well, first of all, when I walked past a door that required 5 keys to be put into it, I went, "Fuck you! I know exactly
Oh
what
yeah.
this is. Fuck
Yeah.
this door, right? You piece of shit." Um, and then yeah, you're like, if I decide to have one gun and some ammo, a healing item and a defensive item, and then it's like you get a key card and good luck with whatever
Go all the way
else.
back because you're full up.
Yeah. So the idea of being prepared for, in a general sense, is kind of an impossibility, right? That they
Yeah.
specifically
So
want you underprepared in some way.
the solution that they've gone for, at least on normal, I'm not going to talk about the harder difficulty. I didn't play it. The solution they've gone for is, listen, you're going to be walking out the door with a gun. You're pretty much never going to take ammo with you, right? You might have a defensive item equipped, and you're probably not going to take health with you. As a result, health and ammunition is actually like everywhere. It's all over the place. And enemies are not that strong, but you have to be comfortable with the idea of, I'm going to use it's 2 to 3 or 4 bullets to get past the generic enemy, to knock it down for 20 minutes, and feel like, I'll probably pick some more up. reload my gun, and then I will shoot another 2-3 times to get rid of that excess ammo that's taking up the slot so that I can pick stuff up, and then I'll use the healing items that I find. And if you run into a really dire situation, you'll use the stun prod to just stun them and then stomp them, and then they're good for a while.
You're not gonna so you're not supposed to be prepared except for between save rooms, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, when you're dealing with some people like me, what ends up happening is the game doesn't use tank controls by default. It uses omnidirectional controls.
Twin
Just
stick.
up goes up. What this means is you have a lot of control over your character. Now, they tried to mitigate this by enemies have actually like a really wide box around them that if you walk into, they're going to smack you, and they have contact damage.
They do.
So juking around them is tough, but it's not impossible. And what ends up happening is that I'm maybe a third through the game, or maybe half. I'm not 100% sure. But I was like sweating and just like, oh man, can I get through this room? And I'm running the numbers in my head of like, is this room possible to navigate without firing bullets, or is this a room that there's like an item against the wall that you have to fight your way through to it? And after a couple hours of that, I ended up in a situation where I'm heading into the mines, and people, because we were playing it on Tuesday, right? The game came out earlier in the week, and when that happens, people have watched. Susie streamed it, and some other people streamed it, and they're looking at me and they're like, "Pat, you have like more ammo than like multiple people streams that I watched like combined. Like in my save file right now, I could pick a weapon and have enough like ammunition in my inventory right now to beat the entire rest of the game." So I can tell you, ammunition in that game is actually on normal difficulty fairly plentiful, but you have to be comfortable with leaving it behind, grabbing it in the field, and then using it in the field.
So what changed my mentality from the moment you pick the gun up and the ammo up, and you kind of take a couple shots, you do some damage tests. Okay, 2 clean headshots put the monsters down, and a stomp. Sometimes if you get unlucky, you got to do 3. What changes everything is the fact that they get back up with what appears to be a dice roll every time you walk in the room. And that means resources aren't real, because
resources are actually time.
It's exactly it. How many times am I walking back into this room? So I'll look and I'll see the map and I'll see, oh, I'm going to have to zigzag past this corridor like 5 times in the next half an hour. This room is always going to be a problem. Let's just get comfortable playing football and not using any ammo in this room ever, because it'll never be worth it.
So I can't. It feels like a dice roll. I don't think it's a dice roll. I think it is.
Is it exactly what Crimson Heads used to be?
This is really hard to tell via like intuition without running over it over and again. Crimson Heads were not dice rolls either. Crimson Heads were tied to items in the environment, and items were attached to like a progression through Resident Evil, right? So I think what's happening is that like you knock them down, and they're going to come back up when you have to go next to them, because there's a puzzle that you now have the ability to solve nearby. But regardless, it's probably more complicated than that, genuinely, because I'm seeing people describe a lot of different variations. There's a lot of ways you can do it. You can do it by time passed, like literal minutes passed. You can do it by how much time you spend near them. You can do it running or shooting around them. You can do it by item progression. Resident Evil 2 had the simplest ever, because that was enemy health, and it just turned out that every zombie in the game had a fixed health value, and some had way higher health values than others.
Okay, and so they had multiple deaths, and once that was done, it was done.
Okay, I'm seeing people say that you can use the radio to know if they will get back up after being killed.
Fantastic.
What is
Fantastic.
how? How?
Maybe the fact, so you see them still glitching, right? They create glitch like bugs in the area around them, you know, and I'm kind of wondering maybe that has an effect on it. But uh I've done a couple walkbacks into the room and went
Mm,
like it's down, back in, back out, it's down, and then the next time nothing really changed and it got back up, and I went,
mhm.
all right, it's there was something happened here that wasn't picking up an item or talking to somebody. It must have been a timer.
So the important thing, and this is vital. I hope it actually uses a lot of these different triggers because not knowing if they're going to get back up is vital.
Mm.
Resident Evil 2, really a lot of its fear broke when you discovered that enemies that get back up will react when you shoot them again. So just fucking ice everybody until with your knife until they're in pieces, and then nobody's getting back up.
But the
Crimson Heads, you
desire
could,
to solve the rules is
yeah, is
high.
intense.
Yeah.
Crimson Heads had a different problem, and that was if you had a Crimson Head that was going to come back up and it was like on the floor, you could literally have seen that their model changed. Like you
Mm.
could see their hands and feet were like clawed, and if once that happened, you were like, okay, that motherfucker's going to get back up the instant I get up.
Mm.
And if
Mm.
you'd enter into a room, like battle music would play.
Okay. Okay.
That
Yeah.
being said,
So
oh man, fucking Signalis is so fucking. It's just so cool.
it's
Like
super
you nailed it
cool.
right away. It's just so cool.
Um, but that, and you know, you're reading the report files, you're doing the puzzles, all that's there. The mood is set and everything's landing. But yeah, just dealing with those threats becomes a big like. Well, I guess I'm just gonna sit on ammo until absolutely necessary. Is the feeling I got. And then the inventory shit. I kind of went. I just look at it and kind of went like, all right, what's like the so for example the knife equivalent, the stun baton.
Hmm.
The description on it kind of made it sound like it would zap multiple things close to you. And
It can. I think I got that to happen
did you get
once.
that? Okay, because I let myself get
They
surrounded on
they have to
purpose.
basically have their models touching each other.
Okay. I let myself get surrounded on purpose and I didn't get anything out of that. But it really is just a knife, right? So that's yeah, sure. That's fine.
A knife that is easier to like. I don't know how to describe it. Like the fact that it has like 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of
Mm-hmm.
like a durability thing makes it seem a lot more disposable.
Mm-hmm. So in a game like, and I guess this is its own thing, but it's referencing things that, you know, obviously came before. The concept of walking around with more than one weapon, I guess, is just complete lunacy.
Oh, it's fucking stupid as shit.
Farcical. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's the impression I got. And I was like,
Having more than one weapon on you is for games with 8 slots or more. And
right.
that's like a rule from like Resident Evil 1. Chris, what is Chris going to carry in his section? He's going to carry the shotgun by itself. Jill
Okay.
can carry the handgun and the bazooka and maybe some ammo.
How much does
But
she get?
she gets 8.
Okay. Yeah. So I was here's the other thing now. Just based on lore descriptions, I was reading about the flares, right? You get that are like these are gonna help you get through the protector armor. So, you know, have these around for whatever you want to dispose of. And I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, that sounds like I'm going to have to fight something with a lot of armor on it and then use this to weaken that.
Hmm.
So that also led to some confusion in that boss fight because I'm trying to try this. I'm trying it out to see if this is the armor they're referring to, and it turns out it's not. It's simply referring to regular enemies and disposing
Hmm.
of their corpses entirely, which I suppose then is, as you mentioned, a callback to something that you do in other survival horror games.
Hmm. Yeah, no, it's burning the bodies in fucking in Resident Evil 1. Sorry, Resident Evil remake.
Okay. And I'm almost like, what bodies do you want to burn permanently that are not bosses? If you, you know what I mean? Like, what is so important? Which individual corpse would ever be so important as to waste that resource? You know?
The one next to the save room.
Yeah.
Is the usual thing.
Okay. Well,
Like whoever like, because like basically whenever you have a save room that you're using often, every room adjacent to that now becomes an area you're going to travel through 1,000 times more than exterior things from that save room.
hmm. So I ended up I just accidentally using one of the ads in the boss fight, and it was like, oh fuck, okay, well that
Hey, guess
sucks.
what? That boss fight's like 100 fucking times easier if you do that.
Well, it wasn't intended, but it did happen, you know.
Because the ads get up after like 15 fucking seconds of being downed.
But I noticed you didn't have to walk up and stomp on them all the time.
You can. It helps.
Sometimes I just shot them down and they stayed down completely. So, which is another weird thing of like, if you wait for a perfect headshot and you land two of those, sometimes that's enough, but not always, you know? So then you're like, all right, so there's also a random or variable element to the average zombie and how strong that is, you know? Anyway, yeah, like it's so hard to not focus on the rules because that's what determines how you survive or don't. But beyond that, it's still like, you know, the setting is interesting and you're reading about everything and meeting these characters and, you know, I can feel that like there's not much to say aesthetically except for it's perfect. It's aesthetically perfect.
It's absolutely perfect.
You know. So yeah, Signalis. So you that remember when we looked at it last week and we're like, oh, it says here how long to beat, about 7 hours.
Fucking bullshit.
That shit changed
I spent
right quick.
fucking 4.5, and I think I'm at the halfway point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That shit
Also,
changed
you know what's one of those
immediately.
fun little things where you're playing and you look at your inventory and you go to the fucking unclustered or fragmented fucking bar that's like zigzagging all over the place. The fuck is that thing for? I assume it's for one of the endings.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so when you're in your inventory and you go up to where the files and the radio is,
Radio
on
files,
the
yeah.
right side
Yeah.
there's a diagram that has a little dot moving
Oh.
around a series of personality defects.
Yes, the third section. I assume that's going to be another mechanic that comes later because radio wasn't there first, and then you know you deal with.
I feel that it's going to be a mechanic that comes later, as in the end of the fucking game.
Yeah, definitely could be, but so far so good, and also, I guess just like strips down a lot of yeah, I'm guessing like a lot of survival horror elements and just like puts them back in a way that's like pretty obvious, but also shows you that you can go pretty light on story. You know, you can and still kind of have it be feel pretty strong. What was the bit? There was anyway, there was something I remember that I thought was like interesting about like the way that the lore was set up or something. But anyway, the yeah, it's pretty fucking solid so far. And I guess you are how many hours in?
I want to say 4.
Okay, okay. The idea of getting a 7th or 8th inventory slot is just game-shatteringly impossible, I assume, then.
Oh, it's
Right.
salivating. That being said, I don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
They have a goddamn note in the early game that says like there's some kind of ideological fucking programming instance inside these androids that disallows them from holding more than 6 items.
I mean, you get items that are like, this is just a plot item. It doesn't do anything yet at all. And you don't know when you might need to use it, but do you want to waste a slot? You know? Like, I hope you don't have run into a wall that says, hey, put this thing in this spot. Yeah. Anyway, good stuff so far. Definitely going to come back to that shortly.
The game's been in development for so fucking long, and when that happens, you're like, oh god, please don't fucking be a piece of shit. It's not. It's great. Oh,
And
thank God.
And between that and the Fear Effect remake, I've completely gotten a desire for Fear Effect out of my system because this'll do.
Good for you.
This'll do.
Good for you. That's good. You'll be much happier. Fucking Ghost Song came out. Jesus Christ.
Crazy.
I don't
Absolutely
believe
crazy.
you.
I know.
I don't believe you, literally anyone.
Yep. And you know what? The whole thing about it being apparently good is kind of like, yeah, it fucking better be. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, it's like I can sit down, play that, and enjoy it, and my demeanor will be, you fucking better be this good. You know? Holy shit, what right would you have to not be good?
That would be very upsetting.
Very. It's kind of a shame, but like there's just this weight on that game that's like, yeah, you're gonna serve up a fucking delicious meal, and like my demeanor will be like, this is what was deserved. I impressed but still upset. Yeah, whatever. I'm like we used to talk about Duke Nukem Forever as like the record holder, and then Too Human came along, and then
fucking Too
Star,
Human. Go to hell, Too Human.
What's the Star one?
Citizen? Star Citizen? Oh, don't worry. That's going to be the all-time reigning champ, despite the fact that people who have put $48,000 into it going, it's out right now, man. I'm playing it right now, bro. Yeah, whatever you say, man. Whatever you say.
Indie games break the rules of like the how long it's been in development, like awards. You know, like an indie game can just be in development for the rest of the creator's natural life.
As long as I'm willing to eat out of this fucking trash can, I can just keep making this game.
Like, make no mistake, there will be stories that are like, when you're 80 years old, it'll be like, this game is finally out. Like, that board game with the sun and all that shit.
Oh, wow.
It's
I love that
finally out. And it's like, yeah, it's not like a company is like putting this on the books and dealing with investors every quarter to decide what to do about a given project. If it's an indie thing, someone can just literally have that be their life's work. You know? There's no time limit on that shit. Anyway, Ghost Song, wonderful for them. Signalis is fucking sick. You guys should check it out. Big recommends on the start of that game so
Excellent.
far.
A+ thumbs up.
Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing that Susie's big on it too, apparently. So
I'm fucking shocked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shocked that Susie, aka the Sphere Hunter, a bigger Resident Evil / survival horror fan than myself, like Signalis.
They're doing it. So yeah, did that, and then I'ma just be frank. I played.
Frank, nice to meet you. I'm Pat.
There you go. I played Overwatch 2 with Gundams.
Oh man, isn't it just literally that? Isn't it just like fucking hilarious?
And God bless it, I don't think I would want it any other way.
It's literally just Overwatch Gundam.
It's fantastic. It's so good. It's really fun.
It is fucking like, God, what was it called? It's called Rings of Power. What the fuck was the Quake 3 mod called?
Oh,
for
Bid
DBZ?
for Power. Bid for Power.
Bid for Power. It's fucking Bid for Power with less effort, but for Gundam.
I mean, they honestly, like, you're looking at some of the abilities, and they basically took Overwatch characters and split them into pieces, and just handed the pieces out to different exactly, right? So no one is quite a perfect analog of anyone else, right? You don't have your perfect Widowmaker, but you do have half Widowmaker, half Ana.
Yeah, and as people are pointing out, much like every other Gundam game to ever be released, the idea of balance is stupid and no one cares.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to, I'm not in any position to make calls on how Overwatch balance is supposed to work, but I can say that the frustration of getting roadhogged was felt when I was getting chain hooked in this game. The frustrations of getting headshotted and sniped coming out of the base are still here, because if you still have those abilities and you hit scan, there goes your suit, right? Someone's got an ult, Moonlight Butterflies on the field, get the fuck out, right? Area denial ults, all that shit, all that same old kind of like that fun I used to get back doing the Overwatch comp days. I felt a lot of that come back immediately. Also, Gundam is cool. I like the robots, and
cool robot.
Cool robots. And what really helps for me is I was able to find something that fits the style of play that I enjoy, because when we said you can like separate and recompile a bunch of the character parts together, so I liked Reinhardt, and I also liked playing Azaria, and you know, and I remember a couple times I messed around with like seeing if I could be a support Winston or whatever.
You want to go heavy.
But you know, I kind of just like, yeah, but I like, but the main thing with Reinhardt was I liked being a melee character on the shooting battlefield, because my aim is shit and also melee's cool. So, in the form
I can believe that.
Good old Barbatos, aka Barbados, aka Barbie, you get the
AKA we can't kill children, but what about guilty children?
What about guilty children? Yeah. Yeah, no, the iron-blooded orphans have no problem with that. Damn, that shit gets mad violent. Anyway, they pull no punches on on how hardcore that gets. The Barbatos is what happens when you take your Reinhardt hammer swings and your bonks, but then you also get the jump behind the enemy lines mobility of Winston. And so you get a very fun character, because the whole deal is everyone's shooting and zapping, and you gotta sneak, peek, find a flank point, jump behind, murder something, because you can do a combo that is essentially a full charged overhead smash followed by a ground stab is a perfect kill.
I believe in MOBA terms, this would be labeled a dive.
Yeah, I mean they used to call that dive comp back in Overwatch 2, you know. But yeah, you would dive essentially, take someone out, and then get the fuck out of dodge, right? Or better yet, dash in to anyone who overextends, kill them quickly, and then jump out of the battlefield. And I felt that like come together in a really natural way with his kit, and that was just like instantly a hook. I'm like, I love the way this character plays. I love the fact that you get to just find any gazelles that are straggling and leap out and drag them away from the pack, you know, and then run back to the group, heal up, hide, get some whatever. It has an interesting flow to it in that, like, because you know in Overwatch you have your shields and then your health, and then you have to rely on your support classes otherwise. In this game, you have some really helpful support classes. You've got like Unicorn Gundam, who's big on heals, and you've got some, you know, some proper support. But disengaging and letting your health heal back is, you know, pretty quick. Maybe, I don't remember how quick it was in Overwatch, but it certainly felt a lot faster than expected here. But second, you've got little health items lying around, which mean that if a healer is not doing a good job, I don't have to give... I don't have to... Then you don't have to give a fuck. I can play a successful match relying entirely on doing the dive, taking someone out, rushing back out with like one shot of life left, like 10 life left, and then finding my own healing item, and then I'm ready to go. And that's kind of like, because the way health would work in the way we're healing up in this in Overwatch, didn't it take a bit longer to get your full?
It's been way too long.
It's been so long. I don't remember how it worked, but I feel as if I was able to sustain my like each individual life I had a lot longer in this than I was in Overwatch. I felt like Overwatch I was kind of expecting to die a lot more soon. And there's no regen in Overwatch. Okay, so Only healers auto heal. Is that what it was? It's been so long I forget. There you go. Thank you. That would explain it. Yeah. But in this, I'm taking people out, and then each successful one and an escape, it's like back to normal. Okay, cool. Or if I jump in, take someone out, then I can like look at the situation. Are we trying to hold the point? Is it worth it to jump out? If not, okay, fuck it. Pop an ult. And then the ult in this case is a cool like triple slash where you aim and aim, slice, kill, type of thing. So it just felt really fun right away, The main thing going with it now is that it's so free to play. You got a bunch of Gundams available, and then there's like you can buy your loot boxes, buy your cosmetics, and buy your battle pass.
Cosmetics in that game are fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I don't care about putting a keychain on my weapon. That doesn't mean anything to me.
Man, it's like the customization of like, do you want to give fucking Gundam Wing a fucking skull paint job? Like, no.
And
why the fuck would I want to do that?
All the legendary skins look kind of terrible so far. Like, very few of them look okay. But the normal ones that are just like, hey, do you want to know what? Do you want to what if Char was piloting this Barbatos? Okay, recolor it red. Sounds good. I'll rock that. That's fine by me. The regular recolors are quite decent, and then the epics are just like, no, I don't want
nonsense.
I don't want Guy Fieri flames that disappear and reappear.
They appeal to those kinds of fucking morons who bought the fancy version of Gears of War 3 so they could have the fucking solid gold Lancer in multiplayer.
Man,
that fucking garish piece of shit.
Overwatch as well with the gold weapons is just like, stop it. Like, the only thing I'll say is at least Gundam has a precedent with gold shit in the form of the Hayakushiki. Like, you got an actual gold suit to reference, so it's not out of nowhere. But still, it's garish as hell, and I don't want it. I'm not interested. Thank you. But yeah, you get all of that, and then the weirdest element of this whole thing is that like you're launching, you start the game, your free account or your non-battle pass account can only play casual.
Your non-rev account
can only play casual, no ranked until you make it to level 20, right? Then from level 20, you're allowed to enter ranked. So congratulations, you've made it to 20. Let's queue up for ranked. Oh, there's no games happening. No one's playing ranked. It's a fucking ghost town because everyone is just playing casual. What's even the point of this mode?
Great.
Super weird. Like, you have it as a reward, but it just doesn't work because no one's playing it because everyone's gonna play the free thing that everyone can play. What a backwards logic thing they had there. Like, you're thinking it's gonna be, I guess if it was a huge hit, then all modes are populated and then you get to care more about your MMR. But in casual, even though you're just queuing up with whoever, it's tracking your MMR anyways. So you're getting paired with people of relative similar skill anyway, therefore kind of super defeating the purpose of ranked.
Mm-hmm.
To which I then learned that apparently it's not uncommon for FPSs to have casual with MMR tracked as well.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of pointless.
So what's the whole Call of Duty shit controversy about? If like, are they the one of the only
Call of Duty?
They don't do it.
Skill-based matchmaking.
Right, but other FPSs regularly did.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. So quite strange because I'm just like, the entire thing you're selling with this ranked mode is just, it's all here in casual.
It's funny that you mentioned that because the Call of Duty solution to this is they're going to add a ranked mode. So the sweats can go play in ranked, and what you're describing with Gundam is exactly what's going to happen with Call of Duty, in that the quote-unquote sweats that want to stomp on bad players are going to go right back to the casual mode because it's going to be interpreted as that's where casuals are hanging out. The people who just want to stomp on kids are never, ever, ever going to go into a mode where they're going to be paired up with people who actually want to fight.
Right. Well, in this case, it didn't work, you know. Now the other thing that happened, and I guess this is a little bit more telling. So Gundam Evolution is what I'm talking about. It launched for PC, I guess like a week or two ago, maybe, and it's currently it's got players, but I tried to get a game at 3 in the morning once because the first night when I was playing it, I was like,
That's
ooh, I
not
really.
gonna happen.
And it didn't work. I couldn't get a game, and I was like, ah, shit. You know. Furthermore, when I jumped on stream and was queuing up, people who were in the chat were able to jump right into that casual match, you know, and they were able to easily find their way in. So
You know
I'm
what
like,
that
oh,
reminds me of? Reminds me of fucking Rumbleverse.
mm.
Every time I go to play Rumbleverse now, I'm like, there are like 15 fucking bots in this 40-man lobby.
It's because you're getting higher ranked. What level are you at?
Oh, I don't even know.
Because okay, the bots you're getting are reflective of how high of a league you're fighting in.
But those bots are trash.
Yeah, because they're just there to get the humans to the final circle quicker. And so what ends up happening is within the first like 5, with what would usually be the point of 20 people left, quickly becomes 10 people left. Circle closes faster, and the bots are all dead in the first like 2 minutes. You know.
That would explain why in the bot matches I'm like cruising my way to the final, and then get to the final ring, and like everyone in there is a fucking murderer.
Absolute annihilation. Yes, it's a strange pace. But next time you boot it up, check your league, because the higher the leagues you go up to, the stronger the humans will be, but the more bots you're going to run into because there's fewer humans that make it that far. Yeah. I'm in the champion league, and I fully expect my first like 2 encounters to be bots, and then like after that you're going to see someone fucking run a combo train on you, and like you know, you gotta wake the fuck up real quick, but the pace is super weird. But anyway, but with Gundam, yeah, man, it's a fantastic Overwatch replacement. And you know, they announced a new cool Dread robot in Overwatch this week, and that was all dope. I'm like, yeah, that looks like a cool character. But I'm having a lot of fun with Gundam Evo, man. I jumped back in the next day, and then I did a second stream with it, and then I just kept playing some more afterwards, getting real comfortable. And I was like for like a team-based FPS match kind of thing, like I know my place is to just kind of like help support the objective, let people.
Yeah, this doesn't feel like a team FPS. That whole genre has been split into 2 types of games. There's like Rainbow Six Siege and shit like that, and then there's like I'm on one side, and that guy's though there technically are 4 other people on my team, I guess, which is what Gundam feels like.
But my role has always kind of felt like I'm gonna leave the heavy lifting to the people who have better aim than me, and I'm gonna try to just like do what I can, you know, in this situation. But like I've gotten really comfy at this point, and I kind of feel like I had a game, like my best game was 19-3, you know.
That's a good fucking game.
And I'm like, I influenced the outcome of this match directly. It wasn't just
you know what the worst game is when you do something like 20-0 and you get to the end, you're like, wow, I didn't influence the course of this fucking match at all, because look at these motherfuckers going 0-20.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, that type of shit, you know. Usually I have a feeling of I am helping, and in this case I'm having games where I'm like, no, I'm holding this down. And there's no like objective push so far of like support the payload or anything like that. It's just kind of like go and like
King of the Hill, basically, right?
There's King of the Hill, there's domination, and then there's point capture, essentially. And when the other feeling that I'm like, oh, I forgot about this one, where I'm like getting ready to move over to Reinhardt, and then someone races and picks Reinhardt before I can, and I go, oh shit, guys, you're not gonna like what happens when you don't let me get the character I'm good with.
No.
Because
Oh, you're gonna have me play gun tank? Oh, okay.
do you really want me to be a horrible? You know what I mean? Like, is this what you want? But I kind of switched.
What they want.
But I fell back and started practicing with some of the extra characters, including there's 5 characters you that are like unlocked with progress or with money, and one of them is a melee Zaku, who's just like Zaku shooting an axe, swinging an axe around. It's Dozels, you know. Remember Dozel Zabi, like with the fucking fancier Zaku with the trimmings on it.
It's been a bit.
Okay.
It's been a bit.
Big dumb Zabi, who jumps in the big Zam later. He has his fancy.
Willie, have you ever played fucking Chivalry or fucking Mordhau?
Chivalry, I think I touched for a second. Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking about this, and I'm just thinking about like, man, those games are fucking team based, just sword fighters.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if you'd be into that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, Chivalry was pretty cool. I did enjoy that, and I like the rock paper scissors element of the, you know, thrust block, defensive play and such. Like that was pretty solid. And it reminded me almost like a first person version of remember Rune?
Oh fuck, that's like this, like a tiny bit. Remember.
Melee Quake Dwarves Axes is the best I can describe it as. Third person. But yeah, it was anyway. It was kind of like that. But I Gundam Evo was fucking great. I switched. Yeah, so I was warming up with the, you know, other melee character, and then I'm like, let me just mess around with the Zaku. Let me mess around with Turn A Gundam, and then in the end, I'm like, okay, no, I could actually jump around here and be all right, you know. And then the other thing, just to say, is I grabbed my controller, started playing with my controller, and I'm like, all right, I know what I'm inviting, and that's okay. You know, mouse and keyboard will be superior, but I'm gonna play what's comfy here. And then I was doing all right, and I was like, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, no, that game's fine on controller as long as you're not zooming and sniping.
Right? Yeah. And then I grabbed the mouse, and because there's only a couple buttons you gotta press, this game works perfectly with the hybrid setup. And then when I switched to the hybrid setup, my KD ratio doubled. So every game I played with mouse as my aiming was statistically way better, blowing out the way I played with the regular controller. So you tell me, if you want to yell at me, not you, I'm talking to the world. If you want to yell at me, tell me to go back to playing a version that has where the results don't show.
Imagine how much
go back to sucking.
You use the whole mouse and keyboard setup.
Yeah, no, it was great. The main improvement is because, and so here's what what I learned too in like going in to figure out what's making a difference in accuracy. The melee strikes, because Barbatos is a 4-star difficulty character, right? Which I'm like, I don't care what that means. I want to do the melee. But it's like, you should care what that means. Because when you swing a hammer, it's not the same as Reinhardt, where if you are physically connecting with the hammer, that's all there is to it. If you're in the range of the hitbox, that is to say. This is hit scan. So the bonk has to hit scan over your body for you to get hit by it. And the stab has a big circle area, but the damage is only dead in the center where the actual sword hits you. Otherwise, the area just stuns you. So you actually have to have solid accuracy to land those hits.
That's definitely a lot. That's more stringent than most melee weapons in an FPS.
Think about the idea of going, I can't play McCree. I'm gonna switch to Doomfist or Reinhardt or whatever, and then it's like, actually, you're gonna have to play Reinhardt with McCree accuracy.
Yeah, no, this actually makes me think of Chivalry again, because Chivalry has the most honest hitbox I've ever seen, and the hitbox is just the fucking weapon. Which leads to stupid shit like, I'm going to swing and then turn my camera away from the enemy so that it hits them late.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
Like
shit
super
like that.
Weird shit.
Yeah. And it explained why as well. Like, I was jumping in and swinging from high above, looking for a big old ground smash, right? Because you know the feeling of when you do. What's a good move? Okay. Well, I don't know if you ever touched Crusader in DNF at all, but like,
Fuck, I've never
no,
loaded up DNF, man.
no. Because there's like a feeling to any game where you jump in the air towards an enemy, and there's a timing of like you press it right before you hit them, and then you start swinging so that you hit the ground at the same time as your swing. Right? That general timing. In DNF, he does the big old hammer drop, but it's okay. Here's what it is. Let's talk about a fighting game.
Is it just like fighting games?
Have you ever played, say, like a KOF game where you do a jump in, but you landed the jump in too early, so that when you do a jump kick, when you land on the ground to continue the combo, they're already blocking?
Yeah.
And you go, oh shit, I didn't do it deep enough, right?
Right.
When you land a jump in like third strike, they're big and they're open, and then and you're gonna be free to press whatever you want after you touch the ground. But if you do it in KOF and you just tap the top of their head, by the time your feet touch the ground, they're already recovered and able to block.
Right.
So, going with that timing in a game like this, which is kind of like a jump in and then melee timing, it would not work initially. And I was like, why is this not working? Like, it's not.
It's not a fucking fighting game.
No. But I'm saying this also exists in not fighting games. This exists in if you're playing any like
completely, because it's a fucking completely different fucking game. Why would that timing work?
Because what I'm saying is, if you played any sort of any third person action game, a Dynasty Warriors game, and you do a jump and then an attack, and the timing of when you the timing of when you try to swing right above the enemy's head to land the hit.
Yeah,
this applies to those any.
That's not universal.
No, but it's not universal, but there's a feeling for what is universal is the idea of you have to press the button a little bit early to get the feeling of when the swing is going to line up with the opponent.
Yeah.
So, in other words, whatever genre of game you're playing, I didn't mean for this to get so technical. All I'm trying to say is you time.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about anymore.
Okay.
Like, as soon as you started talking about KOF, I lost track of what the fuck you were talking about with Gundam.
The reason why I brought up KOF is because that's an example where the timing on jump-ins is strict. When you play a game with jump-ins that are like, if you play a Muso game and you do a jump-in in a Muso game, you still have to learn the timing of that. If you play Castlevania, you have to learn how to do it, and you have to learn how to whip properly. If you whip too early and it retracts before you land, that's a whole thing. There's a learning curve to the timing of a jump-in in every genre of game.
Yeah.
So, in this case, the jump-in timing is like way later than most other genres of game in that moment. It's significantly later, and I was feeling it out as a matter of like, oh, is it because of the collision of the bonk hammer, the mace rather, and it's like it's hit scan. So you have to jump in, have them in, and try to line them up with the cursor. But also, if you hit scan and you're swinging a melee, if they're into cursor rate overlap, but you still mistimed it, you have another opportunity to whiff there. So it's extra tricky, is all I'm trying to say. It's an extra tricky mechanic.
You're saying that the melee weapons are hit scan?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying for the last 5 minutes. There's hit scan to the melee weapon. It's super strange.
That is very strange.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's very strange. And so you feel it like when you stand and you go into training mode and you're like, oh, I move the cursor off of the character and I swing the melee and they're fine. And you go, oh my God, what happened here?
Wait, hold on. What do you mean they're hit scan?
Okay.
Because hit scan means if your cursor is on them and you click it, they instantly get hit no matter where they go or move afterwards.
Okay, so in this case, hit scan would mean your melee swing needs the cursor to be on them.
That's not what hit scan means.
Okay. then I guess I don't know what hit scan means, because like the idea of because it's a difference between a bullet that travels and hits the opponent versus if I click and I'm on you.
No. That's what hit scan means, is that a bullet doesn't travel.
Yes, correct. That's right.
It's on, and then you click and it scans and goes yes or no.
Right. That's what I'm saying. A bullet traveling to hit you means it's not hit scan. That's what I'm aware of with the definition.
If a melee weapon has any startup at all, it can't be hit scan unless it's like frame 1.
Okay, so the part of hit scan where the cursor needs to be on the opponent, as opposed to like, I don't know, let's say you're playing a grenade character where you can aim or fire in whatever accurate direction and it'll land on them even though your cursor's not on them. I don't know what you would call it in this instance, but the point is that if you're standing next to the opponent and you put the cursor on top of them, and you swing, you'll hit them. And if you're standing next to them and the mace is in a position that it looks like it would hit them, or the edge of their hitbox or something, but your cursor's not on them, it doesn't hit.
Yeah, so the cursor's the hitbox.
Right. Yeah, okay. Okay, well, when I was looking at it and I was missing, someone described it as, oh, the weapon's it's because it's hit scan. I was like, oh, okay. Then I go and I was like, oh, the cursor has to be on them, even though if it's off and the mace still swings by them and it doesn't touch and it like feels like it should collide, it doesn't. And I thought that would describe what it is. I don't.
You have to hit them with your melee weapon while you're looking at them.
I'm trying
when you play the shooter game and you go to swing your stick, you have to look at the man and hit him with the stick.
I'm doing my best to describe something in a genre that I'm not super duper massively familiar with. I think it like I don't like, give me the words that I'm missing so I can correct it. But if it's not the word hit scan, then it's just the cursor needs to be on the target, and you can't just go on the side.
Yeah, it means
you can't rely on the animation.
The hitbox is incredibly small.
You can't rely on
the cursor is the hitbox.
Okay. Yeah. I guess
the cursor is a hitbox that's expanding from your character.
Okay, yeah, it's a pinpoint hitbox. Yeah, you because you can't rely on the animation of the actual melee thing to inform whether or not you're gonna land the hit or not. So, Jesus Christ, man, I don't know. Anyway, the game's great, and I'm really having fun with it, and like, I'm gonna keep playing, and I'm probably gonna do a bunch more custom streams if.
Custom streams?
Well, you do what other custom games rather.
Oh,
so people jumped
yeah.
in. So.
Oh man, that really bums me out because like, not that you're doing that, but like it has custom game support. When I started playing Rumbleverse at some point, people were telling me that it had custom game support, but it only has custom game support on special builds that were sent out to people. And it's like, yeah, no, Rumbleverse should have custom games. Like if I want to play with like 10 people,
it does. They have to give you it on your account.
That's what I just said. It should have custom games as a default feature.
It's not a default feature. It's a feature that is like account.
Yeah, that's stupid
granted.
as fuck.
Yeah.
If some random guy wants to have fun with 8 of their friends, they should be able to fucking do it. Keats, give me custom game support. Give it to the people.
Okay.
Have that be a season 2 feature.
Look, a number of people are describing the thing I'm talking about as hit scan, so this might actually be that term. I might be using it correctly.
It's possible. I mean, I'm
before I walk away from this going, I'm thinking I'm insane again. Like, this might be correct
wrong in the past at times.
Okay. You guys get what I'm talking about? Yes. Cool. Okay. Anyway, it's really good, and the fun begins now with this season. And looking at the battle pass, I kind of was like, do I care? Do I want anything here? It's all cosmetic. What am I gonna do? And then I scroll to level 45, and the avatar is a fucking colony dropping on Australia.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna get that battle pass. I want that avatar. Like, brutal, you know? And there was one other one that I liked. Oh, there was a spray, and it's the spray is the last shooting pose. You know, it's the headless, armless RX-78 walking forward after Amuro jumps out and he shoots up. Like, that iconic moment is super sick. I love that. And they have that as a spray, which I was like, before I even saw what the sprays were, I'm like, you better have that one. You better not fuck this up. And they sure enough did. So, colony drop on Australia. Go fuck yourselves as an avatar. Absolutely going to be getting it for that. And now we can play this game of kind of like they did with, I guess, with Maxi Boost on, where...
Terrible name. Name.
X versus M-Bond, baby. Never forget. Now you go like, oh, what's coming next? Are we going to get a Crossbone Gundam? Are we going to get a Stargazer? Are we going to get
the
a
fucking list is so goddamn big.
Wing? We getting our you know, and when it comes to fucking Gundam Seed, there is one Gundam Seed representative, and it's a Dom, which could just be a regular Rick Dom. That's not even from Seed, so fuck off. It barely counts. So it's the picks are interesting so far. We're waiting for everyone wants a G Gundam reference as well, of course.
It
That's
definitely felt
that's
very
a free
eclectic.
melee. I mean the titular suit is Pale Rider, which is
weird.
A side story like Gundam suit. Like, it's such a strange one. Like, they're obviously doing a lot of marketing for The Witch from Mercury right now because that's the hot shit. But and like Unicorn is big marketing too, so that's going to show up a lot. You're going to get your Unicorn and Zazabis and such. But very very odd picks, which gives me hope because anything wild and wacky from G Gundam could show up. You know, anything weird from anything, really. Put a fucking ball in the game, you know? Give me a reason. Drop a Big Zam in there that makes no sense. I don't know.
Oh, Big Zam would be terrible in that game. No, if they get a G Gundam rep, they need to get Master Asia's Gundam's horse.
There you go. Yeah. Everybody is going to just be like, give us Crossbone. And we're going to be like, and it's like, yeah. It's the coolest looking thing. Just fucking do it. But they have all these suits in X versus M-Bond anyways. They can just kind of grab that roster and
it's not the same.
Pick out some favorites and convert them into Overwatch, you know, logic. Really fun though. Really fun. Highly recommended. That's pretty much me. So.
Hey man, before we move on to my stuff, I actually do you mind if I use the washroom?
Sure. BRB.
Thanks, Teach. All right. I've got video game stuff, but before that, I have the wonderful return of how had goth god fucking
You tried.
shit happened this week. So, fun fact, I went and got a new PC. It's fast. Windows 11 has actually been doing me just fine. That works out great. PC's nice. Thank you very much. What's not great is that my bank sent me a new credit card to buy the computer with. I'm like, oh, new credit card. Great. Excellent. I'm switching banks, moving out to BC, blah, 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 right? Go down to the computer store. Hey, computer man, here's my new credit card. I would like you to charge this credit card. And he goes, okay, it's been declined. And I go, great. He's like, did you fill it up? I'm like, this is the first thing I have ever bought on it. And he goes, duh, I can't help you here, man. You might want to go down to the bank down the way. So I go down to the bank and I talk to the bank and I'm like, I activated this card. They're like, you sure did activate the card. It's on fraud protection. I'm like, why is it on fraud protection? It says, well, it says here you're from Quebec and this is cards from BC and you just tried to buy a new computer. So the fraud protection kicked in. I'm like, great. Well, I'm me. I'm here. I'm in the bank. I tried to buy my own computer. Can you please take the fraud protection off? And she goes, no problem. Just give me a second. And she grabs a phone and she dials a number. And then she's like, on hold. I'm like, how long does this take? And she says, it may take up to 3 hours because I have to call the fraud protection section and I have to wait in line on this telephone. And I go, okay, well, I can show you my ID and then leave, right? And she's like, no, you have to be here when they pick up. So I'm like, are you seriously telling me that I may have to sit here in this bank at your desk for up to 3 hours? And I'm like, she goes, yes. I'm like, I can't do this at home. No, it has to be inside a branch. Okay. So I pull my phone out, and 90 minutes later, she gets through and starts a, hello, yes, this gentleman, Patrick, there's fraud protection on his card. He wanted to buy a computer. It is him. I have his ID here. And the guy on the other end goes, okay, well, tell him to show you his recent bills with his BC address on them. And she's like, okay, can you give me your recent bills with your BC address on them? I'm like, no. One, why would I be carrying that around? Two, I literally moved like 15 days ago. I don't have bills with my address on them. They don't exist. And I could hear the guy on the other, well, we're going to have to decline and cancel the card because somebody is... we can't confirm that you're the real you and you're in the bank, so you're trying. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Give me a fucking second. And I go into my email and I'm going through it. And I'm like, here's my fucking mortgage application. It has the name of the fucking house on it and my address and my name. Here's the part where I signed with the bank. Is this good enough? Well, I need a second one. Okay. And I ended up finding, oh God, I found the fucking receipt for like the down payment on the move. Like for the movers that had the address on it. And it wasn't like a bill to the address. It was like, deliver it to my address here. And she goes, oh, okay. And then she turns to her fucking thing and like hits 3 buttons and goes, your card works now. And I go, does it? Can I check? And she goes, sure. And you know they hand you the debit thing that is only for the teller to check your PIN? And I try the PIN fails. So the fucking PIN they sent me in the mail that goes with the card to activate it, fucking doesn't work. So if I had walked out and gone back to buy the computer, it would have fucking declined again. So then I had to fucking fix it myself. with the fucking, fix. Oh, here's the pin. Great, thank you. 2 hours later, bunch of fucking bullshit. Okay, great, fine, excellent. Get the computer, bring the computer home. Computer nice, yay, computer. That's the end of that story. Moving on. My fucking stuff has been trapped in Quebec for months because it has to be shipped cross country, and that sucks, right? So I talked to the moving company, the only moving company that'll ship it across the entire country, and I go, hey, I would like it shipped to this address. Okay, no problem. All right, when is that going to be? I don't know, like middle of November? Oh, okay, that's pretty far. You'll let me know when they're on their way, right? Absolutely. When they pick it up from storage in Quebec, we will give you a call and tell you it is on their way. So on fucking Thursday, I get a phone call, and the guy's like, yeah, we got your stuff. Get ready to see us Saturday morning. That's the only day we can do it. If you can't do it on Saturday morning, then we will have to put it in storage and deliver it to your house the next time we're in British Columbia. Okay. Sure. Also, you have to pay the remainder of the balance on the move by end of day today, or we will not show up Saturday. And I'm like, how much is that? It's a couple $1,000s. I'm like, thank God I had a couple $1,000s ready on my fucking credit card, or else I would just not have had my fucking shit for over a month. Okay, great. It's paid. The move is paid. They're going to come Saturday morning. It's a couple weeks early, so I guess it worked out great. And then I send the text, hey, man, my wife and I are very careful. We're being really careful about COVID. Is it all right if we ask you to wear some masks? No. I'm sorry, even if we pay you extra? No, we are vaccinated. No, we will not. So then I send them a couple messages more, and then the answer comes back, I guess we'll figure something out when we get there. So they show up, and I start talking to the guy, and I have like the fucking N95s in my hand that are brand new out of package. I'm like, dude, please? If not, I'm just going to ask you to just leave everything in the fucking on the lawn. And like, because you can't go in the house. And he goes, I hate these fucking masks. I can't breathe for shit on them. And they're not that big. I hate them. And I'm like, I will offer you $100. And he goes, oh, okay, I guess I'll ask the boss. And the boss, the guy, not the guy I've been talking to, comes out with 2 masks in his hand because this is the obvious scam they run on everyone who asks them to wear masks. Where they go, we don't do that. No, we won't do it. Until you say, yeah, okay, fine, I'll pay you extra. And then they just have the fucking masks. And I go, no, not those ones. Because those are like 3-week-old hospital paper masks. These ones. The ones that will actually protect us. So I give them the masks. And they actually do a very good job moving in the stuff. And all of our stuff was there. And it all went really well. And there's only one little foible. The gentleman who complained about having breathing issues with masks, I believe him. I actually really believe him because during the process, he mentions, oh, COVID's not that big of a deal. I got over it like 2 weeks ago, whatever. And two, the man, Wooly, you've met people of this nature who have the smoker's aura. The smell of cigarette smoke that comes off of them from like 4-5 feet away. This man had the smoker's aura, and also his index and middle finger on his right hand were blackened and yellowed from cigarette smoke. And he got outside after moving, and he pulls the mask off, and he's breathing heavily. And I'm like, dude, yeah, I bet you have a hard time breathing. Considering you are an ultimate chain smoker and got fucking over COVID 2 weeks ago. So,
was it you that brought up that $100 figure?
Yes, it was me.
Okay.
Because it's like, we'll just have to figure it out. I assume that is where I'm supposed to offer 20, and they go no, and I say 50, and they go no. So I just said fuck it and skipped like 20 minutes of haggling with this fucking biohazard outside. And so here's the thing. When they were in the house, they were actually really good about mask etiquette. Almost like they actually totally wear masks on almost every job. It's just they don't do it without, a little extra.
So with the credit card stuff, like that shit, whenever I've had shit like whenever I've had similar experiences like that, it's always been, I'm like, what would help me feel better is if like the teller could explain the hypothetical identity theft scenario where all of this would go down. That's the thing, because I'm like, I get it, and I understand that you're if you want to have defense layers so that someone can't fuck with your shit, totally. But like, give me the hypothetical where somebody goes all the way to this length where they're physically standing in front of you like this with identification.
So my favorite part was like, was it because it's the first purchase, or is it because did I not buy lunch on it first? Right, that kind of thing. And she's like, no, any purchase over $1,000 or some amount, I forget what it was, in the first month of the card would have triggered the fraud protection. So I'm like, oh, so any use of the card for the purpose of a credit card would have triggered the fraud protection. And the only way you can fix it is by trapping me in the fucking bank for... This is not me saying it. This is my mind anger. The only way to fix it... So basically, you're giving out credit cards that you don't want people to fucking use? With like, what the fuck? Why'd you send it to my fucking house?
So the bit about looking for a proof of address has been such a constant issue at random points that I started walking with a hydro bill in my jacket for that purpose.
I think,
because and the other bit too as well is a lot of the time a place or an office or any sort of federal place will be like, okay, cool, show me your driver's license, and I'd be like, I don't have a driver's license, and then it'd be like, oh god, okay, and then it all starts, and it's like you don't have a contingency plan for someone who doesn't have a license, and then it's like, well, that's where you hope you're walking with your hydro bill. Hope you're walking with your passport.
The worst part is that I did not sign up for the card online. I signed up for the card in person with the representative who set up my new bank account in BC, who required like my SIN card information, which for Americans is Social Security, like my passport, my fucking Medicare card, like. The bank fucking knows I am real.
Yeah.
They confirmed it in person when I applied for the card.
Medicare cards will work in Canada like in 9 out of 10 cases, but the cases where you have an address requirement, they're not going to accept your Medicare card. To anybody who's saying, because there's people who are like, we have state ID cards.
Ooh.
Here in Canada, we have Medicare cards, and those work most of the time, but it's not going to have your address on it, right? To get your address on it, you got to go with well, when I say a hydro bill, that's an electricity bill, or
it's not a water bill.
No, Hydro Quebec was the name of the company. So
we got Hydro BC out here now.
Yeah. Sure, yeah, you got to show a utilities bill or a passport will count sometimes, or whatever. But like I've started walking with one because of this exact issue.
No, I'm gonna email myself like a couple of my fucking bills from like my internet provider and stuff like that, so that I can just pull them out. Also, here's my favorite part. When I showed them like a couple bills and like my mortgage stuff on my fucking phone, they didn't fucking verify that those were real. That could have been a fucking PDF that I fucked up with my fucking address and name on them.
Okay, now there, right, when the person looks at your phone bill after you struggling to find the thing, that is likely her skirting policy to be like, fine, he showed me something. Because absolutely it could have been a PDF on your phone, right? So that's likely them just being like, fuck it, we'll just count this. Totally.
I literally don't get a single bill in the mail anymore. What am I, fucking 55 years old?
Every company has sent an email saying, "Hey, stop with the paper bills. Do it all digital now." Like they've all said, switch to
My
your,
bank, every time I log in, they're like, do you
paperless.
want, hey, make sure, which is strange because I actually already get the e-bills, but they're like, you can fucking, you don't have to get paper bills anymore. Like nobody wants to send out paper bills. Yeah, so that was fun. So luckily enough, I got to come home and play a game of Signalis, which was great. And I got to play the Resident Evil 8 Village DLC Shadows of Rose, which is fucking excellent. It's maybe 2.5 hours long.
I was going to say, just a final note is it could have been worse. After the movers were finished, they could have forged your signature and ghosted out, and then had to be chased down by a bailiff to kick down their doors after they broke your arcade machine.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Well, let's find out in 2 weeks if I get horribly ill.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about let's put a dot in that.
Yeah.
So speaking of becoming horribly ill, I did play the Resident Evil 8 Shadows of Rose DLC. It's fucking great. It is a tiny little baby sequel to Resident Evil Village.
Is that playable Lady D?
No. Well, it comes with the Winters expansion, which is the third-person view and playable Lady D and Heisenberg and Mercenaries, and the little campaign that takes place after the end of the game.
Okay.
How do I put this? It has like classic RE8 kind of style gameplay with your guns. It also has some of the more set piece horror elements. And I really don't want to say much about it other than the fact that it should have been called Resident Evil Within, because it takes place entirely within a mold mind palace in which the rules don't matter and nothing is real. It's really cool. It's really fantastic. Like not much to say. It's great. Max found out the hard way that when you play that game on the PC, you should not let the frame rate go above 60, because if you do, during the chase sequences, enemies will move at such a speed that you will not be able to physically complete the section because they fucked up and tied game speed to fucking frame rate again.
Damn.
That is like the third or fourth game on the fucking Resident Evil engine that fucking does that thing. I don't know why they keep doing it. It's like over and over.
I remember high praise for the 7 DLC as well.
Yeah, they're good.
Nice.
They're really good. And then I was like, man, I can't wait to beat that Bayonetta 3. So, Bayonetta 3 is a fun action game. And much like every other Bayonetta game, the actual final boss is trash.
Oh, no.
Is just a bad fight. Still, nothing beats Baldur or Lumen Sage to date.
They didn't learn, huh?
Nope.
Damn.
Also, you get to the end of the game and you're like, wow, Helena Taylor is an idiot. And that's all I'll continue to say on that topic. And then you get to the end of the game and Wooly, you know how when people are like, wow, that thing is bad, haha, and you're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm preparing myself for it to be quite poor. It is bad. It is a bad, awful ending for everyone. I saw someone in my chat point out, and I think I can agree, that it is the 9/11 for gays in terms of badness. But I'll go with my own appraisal, which is the only reason that this ending is not as bad as the third birthday is because it does not imply a character to be a pedophile, and that's it. Other than the lack of a pedophile on the cast.
Yeah, that was happening in the third birthday.
It is just as bad as the third birthday's ending.
Wow. Wow. Okay. This is not just haha silly action game story, ignore it. You're talking about like, well, because in
Okay.
hold on, third birthday's case, the game was bad enough that the ending was actually just the final nail in the coffin of a franchise ruiner, which we're going to talk about in a little bit when we get to the docket.
Yeah.
But you're using words that are way,
Yeah,
way.
no, I am. So here's the thing. You know how like it's an action game and who cares about the story? The
Yeah.
ending is so bad that it makes me resentful of the game in general. Resentful.
Okay. Um.
Like did you notice that a lot of people were talking about how much fun they were having on Bayonetta 3 and then they hit the ending and then they fucking stopped talking about how much fun they were having with Bayonetta 3?
I didn't
I
see.
noticed.
I didn't see that, but I did see some. I did see Twitter threads that were like, "My thoughts on the ending," as opposed to "My thoughts on the game," and I was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna scroll past that." But I mean, based on what you're saying, I'm gonna link it
I
to.
would compare it to Mass Effect, but you're not quite there yet.
Yeah. Well, look, in the context of Bayonetta, when you say something such as a 9/11 for gays, there's only one way to interpret that. So I'm gonna.
You would think there's only one way to interpret that. You would think, but it's not necessarily how you're interpreting it.
Interesting. Okay. Wow. I mean, like, because okay, expectation wise, I have one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's that when the credits play, they start dancing.
Well,
and that's it.
your expectation is accurate.
Okay.
They will in fact be dancing at the end.
That's kind of all I'm expecting and looking for here.
It also, and so this is a little bit aside, because it's more about the ending sequence and the end. Like, there's a part of this game as you're playing it. There's like a level that you get past, and you're like, this was the day Devil May Cry 5 came out. Because after that, the game starts to change.
Weird. Okay.
And you start to just see Devil May Cry 5 in it in a really weird way.
So
it's weird. It's really strange, and it's not just me that noticed it. Like, there was a point where, not my second to last stream, I started up and I kept going like, this looks exactly like this room from DMC5, like 4 or 5 times.
So when it comes to like the ball drop and final bosses, for example, I kind of think of like it's surprising that in taking so many correct cues from DMC3, right? Dante's Awakening taught a lot of lessons that were worth emulating, and many of them were such as the rival fight and all that. But the what's very important is that after you beat Arkham, Virgil 3 is the final boss of the game.
Right.
And not doing it that way leaves, it leaves something to be desired, because clearly you don't want there to be a peak followed by a valley for your final moments. If you remember the presentation that Itsuno did about DMC5, it was about how most games show you the power-up ramp, and they want you to hit the point of being full power midway through the game or at the major turning point, and then you stay powered up all the way through to the end. And in this case, he's like, we want DMC5 to be a power arc that goes all the way up, and then when you hit the final part of the game, that's when you're actually at the peak, and then it actually just keeps going up from there.
Yeah.
Right? Like it never like it's a ramp that just never stops. So if they're doing it this way again, that sucks because they're kind of still hitting that valley. In the first game, I will say that like it's like as goofy as it was, that like you're not gonna get your Jean 3 sequence there. You get your Baldur, but the whole punch God into the sun bit was properly silly and goofy, and like, yeah, okay, this is great. This is over the top dumb shit. Aesir didn't have the fun. The Aesir fight was not anywhere near as fun as the Lumen Sage was, so that just makes you feel like you're on a downhill thing there. And yeah, I was gonna say that like in both cases, the lesson to be learned is just do Dante's Awakening.
Hey, so you want to talk about lessons learned? You know what's a lesson that was not learned from Bayonetta 2? Which was, hey, before your final boss fight, don't put a mandatory minigame section as part of the stage.
I saw someone say that they liked the little Jean minigames you've been hating. I saw someone describe them as pretty
they're
good.
fine. They're inoffensive because they're short. But like before the final boss, the chapter that is final boss time,
yeah,
there is still a mandatory minigame in it.
Okay.
Also, and this goes into like a wider thing. The final boss is not a problem because you're fighting Arkham after Virgil, right? It's not. The final boss is terrible for two reasons. One, it's that thing where it's cutscene, story, drama, fight, cutscene, more drama, fight more, like in terms of like, you know, stages of the boss fight. But the story is the worst thing you've ever seen. So like every time you start to enjoy the boss fight, it goes, no, here's like the worst ending you've ever heard of. Like, and then you go back to the boss fight, and they're like, no, here we're making it worse. Oh, it's way worse than you thought.
Okay.
And the other thing is something that I complained about the very first time I talked about the game, and I was very worried that this was going to stay for the whole game, and it totally does. The homunculi suck compared to Angels and Demons. And Angels and Demons never, ever come back into the forefront. They are absolutely relegated to the minigames. They're not as the homunculi are not as visually interesting. Their names are harder to remember and less interesting. They all look the same. They all exactly the same. And they're just kind of boring to fight.
See, I was hoping and kind of expecting that like there were going to be an excuse to just go like balls to the wall on the move set difficulty. No. Like I'm like thinking about it like a lot. Because Bayo 1 is probably the best one. Because because like the Angels and Demons are like established at this point and they're great. But there's a limit to what you can do going into a new game with them, right? So that's when introducing a new force would allow you to just like fucking go nuts, you know?
Hey, let me ask you a quick question. I'm gonna do a quick enemy test because Bayonetta 1 was a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago for you, right?
Bayo 1?
Yeah,
Bayo 1 was 2019.
No, the last time you played it.
Bayo 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, like when at the beginning of Wooly Versus Act 2.
Then perfect. Hey, Wooly, the very first enemy that you fight in Bayonetta 1, the little guys have the spears and they wind up and they hit
little
you.
Angels,
what are they called?
Well, shit. I forget.
Oh, you can't remember?
Yeah.
What about the big guys? The big guys with the axes.
Beloved.
Okay, great. What's the two-headed dragon called?
Fuck. I forget a bunch of the names.
Okay, close enough. It's Fortitudo.
Fortitudo, yeah, Fortitudo.
Yeah, right. Okay, so you got one of the three, right? And you played that game a couple years ago, right? No, that's fine. You got one out of the three, right?
Sure.
I can't tell you one enemy name. from this game.
Okay.
They are all cloud and stratum and cumulonimbo pseudoscience names, and they all look exactly the same. And they're fucking boring enemies. They're boring. I remember Affinity, I remember Beloved, I remember Ortido and Sapienza and Justicia and Pain, Resentment, Sloth.
Well, yeah, Phantasmagoria. Like,
Right?
I'm playing 2 right now, so yeah, Swindler of Progress.
Yeah,
Like,
everybody remembers the Swindler of Progress.
Yeah.
You remember the Golem? All these things. Honest to shit, dude, couldn't tell you a single one. Like, they're just not interesting to fight.
So there's no Gracious and Glorious or Pain or like Wrath equivalent. Like there's some
Pain is in the game, and Grace and Glory are in the game, and they're more fun to fight than the homunculi enemies.
Because like in 2, you kind of are like, what's gonna be the super enemy? You know, what's gonna be the run stopper?
Yeah.
And like usually that's a name you're gonna remember. Really?
Yeah, no, the run stopper in Bayo 2, sorry, Bayo 3, can't remember their names. One is an absolutely hideous Chinese dragon double-ended fucking cat dog freak that just stomps around and is awful to fight, and the other is like a giant snail that turns into ice mode that was clearly designed to only be fought against by Bayonetta and is incredibly fucking infuriating to fight against as Viola. And they suck.
Damn. Okay.
Like, I would way rather go back and play Bayo 1 or 2 right now than continue to do New Game Plus stuff on Bayo 3.
Is it well, I was gonna say
you get the most weapons of any game ever in Bayo 3. Like, it has the most character action weapons and moves conceivable.
Now that it's done, did you see any modes unlocking like Tag Climax or anything like that?
I mean, non-stop infinite climax unlocked, as well as, you know, there's expert mode, and there's some secret stuff hidden around. There's some secret bosses. I think you can fight Rodin again. There's no tag thing. Definitely no tag thing.
Because I guess I'm wondering then, is like, do you think this is a result of them trying to make this more of an astral chain scale-bound thing? You know? Again, it's a different director, right? At the end of the day, it's not the same. So with each game having a different captain at the helm, the flavors are going to land a little bit differently. But in this case, when we're talking about how the combat changes drastically and it borrows from something they just did, and the astral chain aspect also come back and are borrowed, and the guy who is directing it is the combat designer on both of those things, you know, is this kind of like, or is this entirely unrelated to that? Like the change of direction?
It's unrelated. It's literally just the enemies are boring.
Okay.
They're boring Colgate fresh tubes in the shape of enemies. They're a bunch of toothpaste monsters. Do you remember?
And
you remember that gigantic sword angel in Bayo 2 from the very first level? The one he's got no head, but he's got the face on the sword.
Yeah, he gets sword fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, remember when you saw him and he threw the sword and you're like, wow, cool. I literally never went, oh, cool, to a single enemy in the entire game.
Even during like action set pieces and stuff.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Wow. What because I guess
like the ending's one thing, but the fact that the enemy roster sucks is a way bigger problem.
But what about beating them up? You know, I guess is like,
yeah, no, it's like, I mean, if you want to beat it, you know what? No, because a lot of them are like, how do I put this? The boss fights, except for the last one, are pretty good. They give you a rival character in that game, and the rival character in that game is awesome. It is a damn shame that they are not actually the final boss because they're great. But just thinking, there's a fucking tower monster that you have to send your demon out to hit it like 10 times before you're allowed to hit it, while ads attack you. That just sucks. It's just not a good roster of enemies. Like,
Is that
it's fun to beat on them with your combo moves, but like actually back and forth fighting them, I still think the most fun I had was like fighting Gracious and Glorious in that one hallway.
Okay. Because that's what I'm trying to get at, is that like, are there verses where like this enemy sucks, but in a room where you're combining them with these ones, and it's like I forgot, is it Agony who's buffing the pains in the room?
I didn't feel that way. I felt really
and
great.
Like it comes
my
together
own moves
when you have multiple enemies of a certain type in the same verse, and you're like, okay, this is what it's about. You know?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun using my own moves on the enemies and trying out all the weapons and the demons, but like in terms of interacting with the enemies, I did not. There's not a whole lot there.
Okay.
It's just a weak ass roster.
So, just out of curiosity, I went and took a look. Bayonetta 1, writer Hideki Kamiya.
You can tell.
Bayonetta 2, writers Hideki Kamiya and Bingo Morihashi. And Bayonetta 3, writers Hideki Kamiya, Yusuke Miyata, Yuya Jin, Akiteru Naka. So from 1 to 2 to 4.
Oh yeah.
For Bayonetta 3 here, and Kamiya.
Oh, that four person writing credit was definitely earned.
A lot of cooks. Although Kamiya in the kitchen is still making some weird shit.
No, the problem is not too many cooks in the kitchen.
It's Kamiya writing is gonna be Kamiya writing then.
The problem is not too many cooks in the kitchen. Like, if anything, the story has a really clear desire that it wants to accomplish, and that desire is wrong.
I can't possibly understand.
Okay,
but yeah.
There's actually a really excellent example, and it's not quite the same, but emotionally, you'll be able to get what I'm saying. In DMC 5, the desire was to finish off the Sons of Sparta storyline and lift Nero up to be the new face, right?
Yes.
And I think that succeeded extremely well.
Yes.
The Bayonetta 3 plot desire is a bunch of bullshit that sucks, and they succeed in giving you the bullshit, and the bullshit is now here and will never go away, and it sucks. So I guess you guys got what you wanted.
Okay. They set out to do something, and they
succeed.
They
and
succeeded.
It's the worst thing ever. Like,
okay, I get it. Yeah, okay.
Like it's something that could have been picked up at like the draft phase, which is like, hey, I want this to be the new status quo at the end of the story, and someone should have gone, that's terrible. That's awful. You should not write that.
Interesting. I wonder why. Well, that's very surprising. Because I don't know, I kind of thought this would be a nice little easy slam dunk, if not a layup, by just giving us more of what we love and then introducing a little bit more new to it.
I've been hearing about how bad it was all week, and I was still very surprised at just how bad it was.
That being said, with all due respect, of course, I'm going to delete all of this and play it with my own opinions.
Resentful.
Resentment.
Yeah.
No. I'm gonna flush all this in a minute and play it and see how I feel. But that's surprising.
Also on like a minor nitpick thing that's not nearly as important, but like for a character action game where everyone's a super powered mutant, the amount of like I'm dumb but only in the cutscenes is like out of control.
Oh, that's been there in all of them, though, right?
It's yeah, but it's like I think it's the worst I've ever seen it. It's just astonishing. Like really dumb. Like
Okay.
super bad dumb.
Is this reminiscent in how, like, I guess I don't want to ask too many questions, but
Well,
is
obviously not, right?
yeah, but like, is this close to how like Luca showed up and Luca's the new character and you're like, he's annoying, he's kind of just he's shitty little British kid, his vibe is weird, and I don't want Bayo hanging out with him.
British. What?
Not Luca, sorry.
Loki?
Yeah, Riley.
Yeah, Riley. Okay,
British
Riley.
Riley.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like that where you're just like, Bayo's worse hanging around with you because of your little annoying vibe here, or
No,
is
it's
it
not
more
like that at all?
or it's more go ahead.
It is coasting along just fine until the 90% mark, and then it just shits its pants.
Okay.
It's not like a consistent thing. It's just like somebody goes, now it's time for the story to become horrible, and
Okay.
pulls the brakes. It's Bayonetta 3 is the Battlestar Galactica of video game stories. A reference that will hit like 4 people and their stomachs will churn, but the rest won't get.
I'd love to hear some sort of behind the scenes spoiler interview as to like what and why from Kamiya someday.
Oh, I know exactly why. They tell you why. Like they basically tell you like this is why we did it this way.
Oh,
And
there's
like,
no mystery. Oh, okay.
There's
okay.
no mystery. There's
mystery.
none. And you're like, that was a bad decision, development staff. Terrible bad decision to do. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. If you want to go see some of my streams, first of all, I'm going to be streaming with Paige over at Peach Saliva on Twitch. Right after this podcast, we're going to watch some stupid fucking bullshit she found on the internet. As for the rest of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it'll be God of War Ragnarok and a React stream, and also the ending of Signalis over at twitch.tv/PatStaresAt. It's the boy week. The Kratos time.
Week of boy. Boy of dad.
Yeah.
Makes you want to replay it less. That's a fucking Jesus. Wow.
No. I want to be really clear. It makes me want to replay it less because I am resentful of its existence. I want to go back in time to just, I wish they'd make another Bayo game.
Well, that forces the question. Clearly, it's not a question of how does this stack up to all the other Bayos, in your opinion. It forces the question, do you think this is a good game?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know how to answer
no.
that. I don't know how to answer that. Because if this was a game like most games that I play where I fell off 3/4 through, I would have told you this was a really solid 8 out of 10. But now that I've beaten it and I'm just so bummed out and resentful and just like, ugh.
The pinnacle of character action. It
is not the pinnacle of character action.
No, like what should be like up there in this franchise, what should be on top compared to every other thing that is not Devil May Cry out there that tries.
Yeah.
Right? Bayo as a franchise lands on the Mount Rushmore, but now you're saying basically that they
Astral Chain is way better than this game.
They made DMC2 third.
No, it's not nearly that bad.
Oh.
That's the problem. Most of the game is really fun and enjoyable, aside from a weak roster and one of the worst endings I've ever seen in my entire life.
Okay.
And the final boss fight is mid as fuck, and keeps giving you the terrible story. Like you can't get away from it.
I see. So you could
Like,
enjoy
is it
this.
DMC2? No, DMC2 is like a 0. That game's trash.
So you can stop this by playing and stopping at mission 19.
Mission 13
or whatever. Yeah, you can stop. You can stop at the part and then be like,
you
okay,
can
we're
literally
good.
just once you get to the fourth Bayonetta world and beat it, and you're like, wow, that was cool. Just fucking stop. Just literally stop, and you'll be like, yeah, oh, that was a good game. Yeah.
Damn. All right.
So
Cool.
I'm actually confused about, like, when I rate a game, like, personally, and I'm like, yeah, this is an 8 out of 10 most of the way, and then the fucking ending is so bad that I want to, like, fucking knock 3 points off it down to a 5. Like, is that fair? I don't know. Metal Gear fucking Rising Revengeance is like a fucking 8 out of 10 until you hit the ending, and then it's like an 11. That game's ending's incredible.
Meanwhile, but like, here's the other thing, right? Phantom Pain, a game that disappointed many Metal Gear Solid fans, is still an incredible video game by comparison to a fuck ton of other video games.
Yeah, totally.
And, you know, it just, the negativity it has is the weight of the quality of the franchise as opposed to its own merits.
Man. It sucks. Because the examples we use, like Devil May Cry and Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain, have, like, if you had beaten Bayonetta 3, we could talk at length about comparisons to those games specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't because you haven't touched it. But the things that Bayonetta 3 does really are things that Devil May Cry 5 and Metal Gear Solid 5 did really well, even if there were parts of those games that were disappointing. It is unique in its type of badness. There's only one thing that I can think of off the top of my head that is bad in the exact same way as the new Bayonetta, and it's fucking Star Wars.
Oh, boy. Oh.
To those who have beaten the game and have seen all the Star Wars movies, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh boy, that's a... Ooh, you just said it. You just threw that out there. Oh boy. No, not like that. Not like that. Oh. Okay. Whew. All right. Well, recycling bin emptied.
Yeah.
So, what's your schedule?
I like the part where you control Gamora and Gamora does a cool punch combo. That's my favorite part. As for other video game stuff, hey man, I had you ever get a new PC or new thing and you realize that your old shit was way older than you thought it was?
Mm-hmm. All the time.
Yeah, no, with this new PC, it's top of the line and that's cool. But I thought my old PC was top of the line, and I didn't realize just how fucking hard a 5-year-old processor was kneecapping all of my bullshit.
Yeah, top of the line is a temporary state, and like about 90 days after you're top of the line, you start very quickly not being top of the line.
Yeah,
video card wise, you can rock it, but like all your components.
Yeah. So I was fucking around with Elden Ring, and there were a lot of people when I was playing Elden Ring for funsies, being like, "Why are you playing on the PS4?" I'm like, "Cause the PC shit sucks." And they're like, "Are you sure it does?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And now that I have this, I'm like, "No, it was my PC." Obviously, Elden Ring is not very well optimized, but the fact that I had a 5-year-old processor was not helping. Oops.
Cool. I didn't mention it at the end of my week, but yeah, obviously still touch and go with the schedule. So I'm going to just consider, whatever. Like, Reggie's gonna rest, so that's that. So we're gonna continue Signalis this week. Gonna continue Stray. and going to probably continue Neon White as well because despite the ridiculous.
Hey, I heard you skipped some of the cutscenes in that.
Yeah, well, might have.
I thought when I said that I don't think that voice acting is as important to a video game as an actor is to a TV show or movie, you said I was crazy and that was a ridiculous point of view.
The voice actors don't write the script. The voice actors can be incredible, and the script can be the script.
So what you're saying is that the story in a video game is not as important as the story in a TV show or a film.
Oh, absolutely. Because a video game has something else besides the passive delivery to go on.
I'm glad you agree with me. Because that's what I was saying 2 weeks ago when you said I was nuts.
No, okay, because the way you said it, it's not just me. Everyone agreed, like everyone looked at that and you said, I wish we could delete voice acting, period, or whatever the crazy hyperbolic way you said it sounded perfectly insane as the things you say are, which is a much less reasonable thing than stories in video games are less important than in other mediums, because they are. Because video games are the medium that you get to interact with and play, and that part of it is important, as important in many cases, more important, depends on your genre, than what the story is. Yeah, it's a more complex medium.
Hey, I want to tell you something now that you mentioned this, or when you go back to Bayo 3, I want to tell you something that doesn't delete from your mind, because I want you to keep it in your mind. As you go through the Bayonetta 3 story and start to deal with it and like see the voice acting situation, there's a moment in that game where you go, wow, Helena Taylor is fucking stupid.
Huh.
Like a really laughably direct moment where you just go, wow, that lady is a dumbass.
Huh. Okay. I'll keep an eye out. I couldn't possibly imagine.
It won't be hard to see.
Okay. Sure. No random NPCs walk up on the screen called like Telena Baylor, right? No. Okay. Anyways, so yes, the we're gonna continue Neon White because Neon White's a very fun game, and the further into the plot you get, the less non-plot you got to deal with, and that's all good. So even though, as Wooly versus the algorithm will show you, cringe is the mind killer.
Cringe is great, dude. Cringe is great.
Oh yeah. I got some premium, high quality, fucking sous vide cringe the other day. We thoroughly enjoyed it. It was Michelin star rated cringe on Wooly versus whatever.
I like that.
Sat down with Punch Mom, and we enjoyed a lot of content, including the Game Crazy Trainer's Manual video, which
that's good. I like that.
Oh, it powered me up. It gave me so much joy. Like
that
so much
good stuff.
angry joy. And then it slop-septed over to everything is terrible. That's hip hop.
Oh man, I love Everything Is Terrible, man.
You gotta go power up over there. It's beautiful cringe, flawless, So the Wooly versus whatever episode 3. We're gonna get that coming at you soon. But that was a fun stream as well. But stay tuned this week for more of the those playthroughs and for some more Gundam Evolution, because fuck, man,
that game's cool, man.
I'm in. They got me. They absolutely got me. And what sucks is knowing that, unlike like an Overwatch, which is its own unique IP that Blizzard is trying to push and make survive, Gundam is still Gundam at the end of the day. So kind of like any Dragon Ball game, when Bandai is kind of done with it, they can just...
It will just die.
It'll just die. the servers will collapse way faster than any other games would, and they'll move on because there'll be a new Gundam product to buy. So that's kind of a bummer, you know. But I hope that if it catches on once it drops on console on November 30th, then it'll be a big old like, oh shit, no, keep the seasons going. People really enjoy this, you know. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. And you know what? Here's the thing too. I want this game to survive so that we can get more unique Gundam things to it, because right now it's doing Gundam flavored Overwatch, which is great. It's a lot of fun. But I want a mode called Colony Drop. You know?
Why? You're so obsessed with killing Australians.
I want a mode that is like, you know, based on like you know, just different unique Gundam scenarios. I would like, or even a battle inside of a colony, you know, Jaburo fucking war shit, like anything that, you know, can be like a unique from the world of Gundam gameplay mode could be a lot of fun.
You know what? Okay. I was thinking about it. You're right. They should have a colony drop mode. And when you hit the points required to drop the colony, you get like voice acting of like a bunch of Australians just going like, "Oh no, colony."
I mean, what the mode would actually be would be you're fighting in space on a bunch of platforms, and you're stopping the space noids from activating the launch sequences as you run Earth defense, and then, you know, at each point of conflict, you know, there's a further push to be like, oh no, the colony is further.
No, you know? Arnar. There, see?
Yes.
See?
Yes. Aye, nay.
It's funny. It's funny because they talk weird.
All right. That's Wooly Versus, and of course Wooly Versus the algorithm. Oh, and some of you might really enjoy it, but yeah, something that people are something that's popping off a little bit and people are really enjoying are the Reggie and I watched Polygon's How to Get Into Fighting Games and Have a Nice Time video, and we did our full we did our
drunk
full React Andy to it. People are likening it to the styles of who did they compare it to? I think Asmongold and Hasanabi as like React streamers that pause and turn a 20-minute video into an hour-long one. So by all means, check that out. It's a pretty fun video about getting started with fighting games, actually. We give our thoughts on it, and also have a instant recommend to the newcomers playlist, which is a because I have Get Into Fighting Games as the regular, you know, thing with the episodes, but I've made a new playlist separately specifically for the games you're touching for the first time, which are the new with new players for the first time from scratch, the newcomers. So check those out as well. And the comments on that video are also like some of the healthiest and most productive and fun YouTube comments I've seen in my entire career. Like, the nature of the video being about this stuff has led to just very cool, honest discussion about getting started on fighting games, and I really enjoyed that. So go check it out. That's over on Wooly Versus the Algorithm.
Well, that's the honeypot, right? You got to be nice to the kids so they get into the fighting games so you can beat their asses later. If no one new gets into fighting games, you'll have to actually fight matches, and that's like skill-based matchmaking. So you got to get the new people in there.
But the secret is that those kids then learn to beat the asses of other kids, and then they become the powerful. That's
when you move on to a new trash Kusoge like DNF.
I mean, you stay wherever your heart tells you to go, wherever you feel there are children to be beaten, you find those places. But you grow, and you are no longer the child being beaten. It's important. Remember, being weak is nothing to be ashamed of, Pat. Staying weak is.
But how am I staying weak if I can always find new smaller opponents to bully?
Then you're getting stronger.
Nah.
Yeah.
They're just
never forget. Never forget. All right. Let's take a quick word from our sponsors. This week, the podcast is sponsored by Stitch Fix.
Hey, Stitch Fix, what's going on?
Yeah, Stitch Fix is the service that steps in to when you feel like you're going out to impress your friends, you're gonna have a fun night on the town, and you jump in your closet and you put some shit on and you jump out and you look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, I'ma do it.
I'm wearing a video game T-shirt right now.
And then your friend, your significant other, or maybe even your cat, will just put the paw on your foot and be like, "Hey, man,
It's
don't
time
do
to
it.
stop.
Don't. Don't inflict damage on those around you."
Purple with yellow, neon, windbreaker. What are you doing, man?
Everybody knows purple's got to go with green, and you know who can tell you that? The folks over at Stitch Fix, because they've got professionals that can help you look better, dress better, get things that are a better fit for your style, and match your budget as well with no stress. And you don't got to deal with your own sense or lack thereof of style. So, yeah, it's basically the service to get you easy clothes that fit you. You don't have to endlessly scroll through options. If you go through the rack at a store and you don't know what to do or how to start, they've got the experts. What you do is you answer a couple questions about where you typically buy your clothes, what you like to wear, of course, what your price range is, and with that, they've got some sizes, to take into account as well. They'll find the perfect fit for you, and then they'll send you clothes that are handpicked to your aesthetic and price range, over 1,000 brands and styles that they're going through, and whatever you like of what they send you, you keep. Whatever you don't like, you send back, and free returns, all of that, no stress. So yeah, let the experts step in, take a look at you, and before you know it, you're going to be a JoJo character. Unless you don't want to be, but why would you not want to be that? So, yeah. What you do is you go down to stitchfix.com/superbeast, and that'll be to get $20 off your first purchase. So, once again, Stitch Fix is offering $20 off their first purchase at stitchfix.com/superbeast. That's stitchfix.com/superbeast for $20 off today. Thank you, Stitch Fix.
Thanks, Stitch Fix.
Right. This week, the podcast is also sponsored by ExpressVPN.
Hey, ExpressVPN, how you doing? I would like to watch something that I'm currently geo-blocked out of because of the tyranny of content providers.
The tyranny of Netflix should not be accepted without a fight. It's quite straightforward. What's the analogy today? Is it going to be having the bathroom door open, or a creepy 12-year-old at McDonald's stealing your Wi-Fi?
I don't want to have my Wi-Fi stolen.
Nope. This time around, using Netflix without ExpressVPN is like going to a casino and only being able to play the slot machines. Why limit yourself like that? The big money's somewhere else. Well, I don't know about that. I don't necessarily agree. But that being said, the idea, of course, is that if you go to, let's say, I don't know, a video store, a Blockbuster, and then, like, you're only allowed in, like, the children's aisle, and you're like, but I want to go over there to where the action movies are.
And they're like, no, shut up, you child.
And then every time you try to walk over there, the kid behind the Blockbuster kicks you in the shins and shoves you out of the aisle. And you're like, but that's not fair. I'm a member. I have a card to let me rent from the store.
ExpressVPN shows up and goes, you know what? You're right. That isn't fair.
And they smack that kid, and they escort you into the aisle to buy whatever you want. Am I likening ExpressVPN to a person who would cause physical harm to a child? Absolutely not. But in this analogy, Netflix is stopping you from watching what you're already paying for. And that's important. It's an analogy. So, get yourself ExpressVPN so that you can control what you want to watch, where you want to watch it, by telling Netflix where you're located or where you want to be located virtually, and you'll be able to see everything unblocked from your your patch of dirt, as I like to say. Of course, you're also getting it with zero buffering. You're streaming in HD with no problem with ExpressVPN. It works on your phone, your laptop, all your media consoles, all your smart TVs, and more. Servers in 94 different countries, so you are covered on all your devices with no worries about speed. Be smart, and of course, protect your privacy. There's multiple benefits to ExpressVPN. Stop paying full price for streaming services that only access a fraction of their content. Get your money's worth. expressvpn.com/superbeast. Our link, again, don't forget, is expressvpn.com/superbeast, and you'll get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Thanks, ExpressVPN.
Thanks, ExpressVPN.
Castle Super Beast is sponsored by Raycon. This end of year holiday season, give your family, friends, and loved ones the gift of no wires.
Hey man, I'm using a wire to connect to my headphones because I have a complicated mixer setup, and I have to say it's easily my most hated part of this entire setup. I can't stand it. I constantly pull this thing out and lose audio. I hate it. I really wish I could just go totally wireless.
I was walking outside earlier today and I saw a power electric wire and I got upset. It made me really vex. I hated it. So get your loved ones the power of no wires. You know, there's some cities that are actually trying to work on becoming wireless in that way. There's areas, I want to say, in Washington, D.C., where there's no power lines above ground because they bury them underground so that you don't have to see them.
I used to have family in Mississauga, and they got no power lines above ground. It's cool.
It's cool. That's cool.
It's a little strange looking, actually, now that you've lived everywhere else.
You're used to that being part of your city aesthetic, but we can do better. So yeah, just like that, get the wires the fuck out of your life. Right now, you can go check out, of course, you got wireless earbuds, headphones, and speakers, tons of features, comfortable fits, up to 54 hours of battery life, perfect gifts that are coming in at half the price of other premium audio brands. You can, toss those expensive buds out that get all crusty and dirty with the ear wax. You know what I'm talking about. If you own one of those, you see the buildup and it ain't great.
It was not good.
It was not good. You look at that and you go, Jesus, really? That's what's inside there?
I don't like that.
I don't. So yeah, perfect time to get any of these holiday bundles with Raycon. They've got 30% off if you shop for Raycon's holiday bundles. So get your family in on the wireless experience. And in fact, you're listening to this because you're a cool, advanced future person that understands the technology of the podcast. But
That's
you
right.
might have somebody in your life that is a country bumpkin that doesn't understand that the future is now. They have probably been listening to their music with a tin can and string. So you can blow them away with some wireless earbuds that, that with sound quality that is unprecedented, providing that they have a Bluetooth device, of course, that they can connect to it. But of course they do. So right now, go to buyraycon.com/superbeast. Use code EARLYBF to get 20% off site-wide. That's 20% off any Raycon product, which almost never happens, or save even bigger and get 30% off Raycon's exclusive holiday bundles. The code is EARLYBF at buyraycon.com/superbeast. You're going to get 20% off your Raycon purchase there. Lots of savings, lots of bundles. Buyraycon.com/superbeast. Thank you, Raycon.
Thanks, Raycon.
Last but not least,
Definitely not.
HelloFresh is here, sponsoring the show. Thank you. To get you your farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. I don't know what that smile's about, but you better knock it off.
I don't know what smile that's about either. You know what that smile's about?
What's that about?
It's about HelloFresh and how much I love HelloFresh.
You better knock it off.
I'm actually just thinking. I'm thinking about how much I enjoyed the HelloFresh that me and Paige made for ourselves the last time we ordered it.
It's good. It comes in the box with the cooling on it to keep the meat cold and fresh. You know, let's say you happen to live somewhere.
That's why it's in the name, man.
Yeah. Let's say you live somewhere where, like, you know, the elements are out to ruin your food. Thankfully, these boxes are delivered with insulating tech so that you don't have to worry about it. And you're not getting the food frozen. You're getting it kept cool. And
yeah, so when in my place in Montreal where I used to live, sometimes I'd be out for the whole day and Paige wasn't there. We'd get home and, like, the HelloFresh had been sitting out since, like, 8 in the morning. And it's like 6, 7 o'clock at night. No problem. Absolutely no issue. It was still cold. Just throw it right in the fridge. Like, absolutely no issue whatsoever.
And, of course, you can always use the fact that it's pre-portioned ingredients, preset meals that are all ready to go, usually to cook for 2, to impress somebody in your life who looks you up and down and goes, honey, I love you, but stay out of the kitchen. Well, how about you walk in there and you take it back over by painting by numbers and following the instructions of more talented chefs and nutritionists who've put together some delicious meals. Take the credit. They want you to take the credit. They're okay with it. Holidays are, of course, coming up this time around. It's a busy time, so you can get, very occupied with the hustle and bustle. But it's now easier than ever to get chef-crafted recipes, stuff that fits right into your meal planning and prepping time, where you don't have to waste too much effort on your grocery store runs. Get those out of your schedule. Save money, and on dinner with HelloFresh when you put it towards your holiday shopping. And statistically, you're saving 25% off of your takeout and grocery shopping. So you're saving money with that too. It's pretty good. 35-week. Mm-hmm.
If Seymour Skinner had ordered HelloFresh and followed the instructions carefully, he would not have had an error with his roast and would not have then tried to disguise Krusty Burgers as his own cooking. He would have, in fact, been able to impress the superintendent normally with regular, normal, not fast food that he had actually made himself. But no, he tried to do it himself without the friendly, handy-dandy HelloFresh cards.
Chalmers would have been blown away.
Blown away.
Yeah. I think that absolutely would have happened. And then we wouldn't have had all the memes commemorating his failure. Instead he would have presented some delicious pesto chicken. And Chalmers would have been like, wow, this pesto chicken's incredible.
You're promoted. Wait,
go to HelloFresh.
You promote a principal? Nah, I don't know.
Go to HelloFresh.com/SuperBeast65 and use code SuperBeast65 for 65% off plus free shipping. Once again, that's HelloFresh.com/SuperBeast65 and you use the code SuperBeast65 because you're going to get 65% off plus
That's crazy.
Free shipping. It's unheard of, and quite frankly, if it was up to me, I would say less. But I can't believe we're letting them get away with it.
I feel like we're bordering on like Crazy Steve's like crazy deals with a 65% off coupon code.
We might need to get them on the line and go, what are you guys doing? 65% off is ridiculous. That's too much. That is way too much. You can't give them that much. They won't know what to do with it. But either way, you can get that now. So That's hellofresh.com/superbeast65. Thank you, HelloFresh.
Thanks, HelloFresh. I love you, HelloFresh.
There you go. Okay, let's get schmovin'. We got some stuff going
Hey,
on.
can I take a quick 2-second break?
Let's take another one. BRB.
Thanks, man. Sorry about that.
Okay, so first up on this week's news, I would just like to officially welcome and congratulate the newest hero on the Leak Guy list. So the Halo Barn has been a staple of the game leak history. Right up there with DMC5 Guy, who recorded himself showing off full footage of DMC5, and then when the TV went dark, he was in the reflection, and then him holding the phone up, and as it went dark, he went, "Oh man, you could totally see me. Oh, that's crazy." That guy was a legend. The Halo Barn, I mean, they took all the precautions, and God bless them, because that was incredible. A new hero has entered the tournament. I'm going to call him Shirtless Overdose Dude, because
Okay.
Hideo Kojima's game, his latest game, called Overdose, has leaked via footage of a shirtless dude with a cell phone held up, and every time it gets a little too dark, it just cuts back to him just shirtless in a big empty room, leaning up against what might just be his bed.
I'm watching it.
And that's it. No fucks given. Not the most
How does this always happen this way?
Not the most ceremonious way for Kojima's new game to get announced. However, it was technically leaked earlier last year.
So this is a new guy somehow finding the old leak stuff on YouTube and shirtlessly leaking it?
I think it's a new guy showing new footage that was originally leaked by, I think, some press in some way. But yeah. What you see...
I'm looking at it. It's fucking... This is weird.
It's hilarious because you're like, okay, the game is happening, but this dude just doesn't give a fuck. Like,
I can just see most of his face and his nipples.
I mean, look, Halo Barn, that person cared about their job or reputation or whatever it was, But the level that comes with just this dude and DMC5 guy being like, I have no fucks to give about whether or not you can identify me. In fact, if you can, it's probably better. Oh shit. Oh, it's me. That's crazy. So, what the actual footage shows is Margaret Qualley from Death Stranding being chased in some sort of survival horror type setting by a weird light creature that's behind her, and she tries to hide, and then it gets her, and then it cuts to game over, and then the word over turns into overdose, and then the word Hideo Kojima game appears above that. So
this feels like they this is more horror.
Yeah, horror with. Are we asset flipping? Are we just gonna copy? We already have a body scan of her, so we might as well just drop it into a new setting. Margaret Qualley was Mama from Death Stranding.
She did a great job saying all those stupid things her character had to say.
Yeah. They all did.
For Death Stranding, they all did a great job acting. But who did the best job saying the stupidest things?
Die Hard.
I want to say Hart. No, his shit wasn't stupid though.
His shit was great.
His stuff actually made sense.
Yeah, but he also had stupid things too.
I think Heartman said the dumbest things the best. Because like Heartman's whole character made no sense, and he sounded like a stupid idiot, but he did it really well.
I mean, I guess the emails about gourds don't count.
No.
All right.
Oh, man. That fucking game. You remember playing through that game and like, this isn't a real video game. This is a fake video game. Like, the whole time.
Did you see that Yoshi Stranding parody, by the way? There's someone animated Yoshi as Sam walking around the world of Mario with a BB Mario inside the chest container.
I don't like that.
It's amazing.
I'm gonna go look at it right now.
It was fucking phenomenal.
I'm gonna go look at it right now.
Yeah, it's you know what? It's probably on your React list because that's where I saw it. And, people tend to send it both ways. So, anyways, yeah. So Overdose, starring Margaret Qualley. You know what? It makes sense because I bet you, considering the big itch that Kojima had to make a game that literally makes you shit yourself, he never got to scratch that itch, and we saw that PT was, with one demo, succeeding massively at scaring the shit out of everybody.
Boy, did it. Holy hell. So
the desire to make a survival horror thing is probably still inside, and that's what this is going to be. Good. I like PT is such a fucking tease. You know, it's such a tease because if it was just like, oh, that was a pretty good scary thing, that'd be one thing. But it's the scariest game I've ever played. Like,
easy.
In 2 seconds, it does so much with so little with one hallway. And I absolutely want, if that's a flavor of what he's going to do in that genre, like, he can change the whole fucking game. So, yeah, let's see it. Let's absolutely see what this is going to be. And Shirtless Overdose Man, we salute you for giving no fucks.
Heroes.
Yeah. This also is likely going to be the project because Kojima was tweeting out Elle Fanning's face as well. So she's probably going to be involved with this project.
You know what the weirdest thing to me about Elle and Dakota Fanning is that I'm like, oh, I remember them. They're that kid, right? And it's like,
that's
oh
not
no, that they were that kid like 20 years ago when the War of the Worlds movie came out. Just time passed. I'm old is what I'm saying.
Okay, but for a second I thought you were saying you thought they were the same person.
No, they're like siblings or some shit.
They're sisters, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
I'm old still.
yeah. Wait, yeah. No, how? Which one's older? Uh,
Probably the
Dakota.
old, probably the older one.
Yeah, Dakota's older by 4 years. Okay. Well, there you go. And Shiori Kutsuna is also a part of this game. Who is she? Deadpool 2.
I don't know actors' names anymore. I should mention that. At some point, I just stopped knowing who literally every actor or famous person in the world is.
I mean, I
Like
don't.
every single time somebody goes, "Oh, did you
Yeah.
hear so and so died?" I'm like, I don't know who that is. And then
Yeah.
my,
No. That's understandable.
oh man, can I? This has nothing to do with anything, but I think what might be the most useless sentence in the world is when someone goes, "Hey, so and so died," or "Did you hear what happened with so and so?" And you go, "I don't know who that is." And then the very first response back to you is, "Oh, they're so famous." I'm like, that doesn't help me if I don't know who the fuck they are. They're obviously not famous enough that I know who they are.
I mean, it depends, but if you're not paying attention to the given genre, for example, if you're not paying attention to hip hop, you're probably not going to know who Migos are. So,
Yeah, but here's the
yeah.
thing. Michael Jackson, I didn't need to pay attention to pop music to know who
Sir,
fucking Michael
yeah,
Jackson was.
that's another
When I
level.
hear they're so famous,
Mm-hmm.
I think about Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan or like somebody you cannot,
Mm-hmm.
literally cannot avoid.
Yeah, no, that ubiquitous celebrity doesn't exist anymore because of like the nature of social media and like how everything is like no like there are superstars, but they're all kind of holdovers from
Yeah.
the old generation in a way. Anyone that's super massive now is still going to be as massive as you can possibly get to a generation, you know? But once you leave that
Do I know?
generation, it falls off aggressively.
Somebody asked me if I knew who Dua Lipa is, and is she the one who stole that song from Paramore?
Did Dua Lipa steal a song? Possibly. Possibly. But ultimately, the point is that it's very generational.
Yeah.
But
Is that not?
Duo
Is that
Lipa.
not? Is that not how you say their name?
Duo Maxwell Lipa.
Okay.
Well, you know Paramore, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, of course.
Yeah. That's what you get. Anyways, yeah, it's very generational. So it's you're not you know you're not out of place there, but chances are, at the very least, despite like never hearing, the thing is, because that's the thing is like I can't tell you shit about K-pop, but I've heard of BTS and I've seen those names pop up here and there via osmosis. So that kind of shit just becomes more and more like, oh yeah, that's a word that my brain has scanned past before, you know?
BTS is that boy band that everyone wants to murder everyone over, right? That if you say the phrase "I don't like BTS," like a bunch of K-pop Candymans show up
Oh
in your house
yeah.
and stab you.
Yes, the K-pop stands will show up, and exactly, and like that's also the where you come across like fan accounts where you're like, is this a bot? And you're like, no, it's a human being that's actually spending 16 hours a day replying to every thread they come across on Twitter with a fan cam video of one of the dudes from BTS, and
Hey,
it's
I just
terrifying.
want to, like, I don't understand anything about social media anymore because, like, I was just scrolling through TikTok the other day and it's fucking some K-pop like fucking melee combo video fucking fan cam showed up and I'm like, is this what the kids do now? They do fan cams of their melee combos.
Was it interspliced with K-pop?
No. Yeah, it was. It was.
Oh, well then, yeah, totally. I mean, you need a sequel to cursed Call of Duty edits.
I don't.
If we
Do
can
we, or are those still happening?
those are still happening. If we can do unironic, real Call of Duty cross 30 Seconds to Mars, there's nothing stopping K-pop and Melee from happening. Absolutely.
I can't tell anymore.
Anyways, the point is, oh, she played Luna Freya in FF15. Okay.
Dua Lipa did.
Yes, correctly. You're correct. Duo Maxwell Lipa. Just.
I'm gonna keep saying it wrong until someone corrects me.
You are correct. You are correct. Doompa Loompa. Yeah. Perfect.
What's happening? I was out of touch from the beginning, so this is really tracking well.
Yeah, you gotta tell the kids your opinions on Bad Bunny and Bad Baby and bad insert B word there.
Are you making this up? I don't know. Are you making it up?
Totally making it up. Not even real. Bad Baby ain't Little Baby. No. Don't get it twisted. There's the baby. There's Little Baby. There's different kinds of babies out there, man. You know, don't worry about it. That's not why you click on Castle Super Beast.
What's happening? I don't know what's happening.
What's happening is Tay Sway's album was top 10 on the Billboard charts. Every one of her songs, and she had every single slot on the top 10. It's crazy.
Who?
All right.
Who the fuck is Paceway?
So we'll look forward to more Hideo Kojima in the future. So
I'm like scanning the fucking chat like a fucking archaeologist right now. I'm desperate. I'm like, maybe the fucking Taylor Swift. Oh, that okay. I know that one. I know that one because her fans are insane, and she made that song that makes her sound like a psychopath.
I take it you're not a Swiftie?
I'm not a Swiftie, no.
All right. Well, anyways. So check it. Gears of War live action feature film and animated series.
What a fucking pile of shit.
How you doing? You okay?
That fucking thing has no plot at all.
I mean, but what I can't understand, because Netflix is, I guess, just trying to find some shit to adapt, and that's all fine. This might, who knows? This might turn out to be good or whatever. We've seen adaptations.
The time to adapt this was like 12 years ago.
How is this happening in 2022? The last game in the franchise, Gears 5, came out when?
Who cares? The time to adapt this would have been between 2 and 3. Same thing with Halo.
My brain says 5 years ago, but I don't know if that's true. Gears 5, sure. 2019. Okay. Well, almost.
Literally, the only reason I even know Gears 5 exists is because I scrolled past a Skill Up review of it and went, oh, I guess that came out.
That's the thing. Like, it is from about 3-4 years ago, and it doesn't feel like it happened because people really only talk about Gears of War as a trilogy. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
played some of Gears 4 and it sucked ass.
you know what Netflix should do is not adapt Gears of War and just announce a new line of Gears Funko Pops,
Yeah, you know what? Sure.
and that's how they'll make their
Sure.
money. There's a live action movie and an animated series, so they want to do all the edge running and
Oh man, you can
all
really
the Castlevania-ing that they can
you
get.
can really help that animated series a lot by getting Joe DiMaggio in, and if I have Marcus, come on, I'm taking the dog.
Well,
Exactly like that. Exactly like that.
well, I imagine it'll be about the Gear kids,
Oh, fuck them. They're terrible.
but they're the future
Who cares?
of the
Fucking Gears 4
franchise.
has no future. I can't think of many fucking shoot bang fucking things that had less of a narrative future than Gears 3. We
4.
killed everyone. Yay.
Um,
It's John DiMaggio. Then who the fuck is Joe DiMaggio?
baseball player.
Oh, is that a different guy? Okay, well, I've been making that mistake for 15, 20 fucking years.
That's not getting fixed anytime soon, dude. Yes.
Fucking
Anyways.
whoops.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I honestly, here's the thing: is realistically, expect to see a number of franchises come out of the woodwork and go, "Hey, Netflix, can you do the treat? Can you give us the treatment, right? Because like, give us the Castlevania, give us the Witcher, give us the treatment, the full top to bottom."
Man, Castlevania's still yet to be beat. That shit was great.
Yeah, it's they're gonna just try to, and I mean of course the Netflix themselves are the same, like you guys, they made live action Death Note. Like it's gonna be on the studio they find and hand it to,
Yeah.
right? The secret to Edge Runners, the secret to all these things is who do you hand it off to? So
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna say something. I'm
Arcane
gonna say
is Arcane is fantastic, but I liked Castlevania more.
I'm gonna say something, and some people are gonna not like it, and they're gonna say what I'm saying is stupid, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It is not my fault that I confused John and Joe DiMaggio. Parents who name their kids John are lazy, and they should stop. They just decided to go with, yeah, whatever, boy name. You need to stop it.
I hear that, but I also know that many people are going biblical or grandfather or relative. So,
Lazy.
unfortunately generic, but you know, when people are convicted by like if it's like, yeah, if you're going with a this is what my, my grandpa's name was, or if you're going with I want a Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, then
There are so, like, I don't believe the name thing, because there's so many other family members you had that were not named John that you could have, like
there's
yeah, I happen to name, it's really sentimental to me, the name that everyone else on the planet has.
yeah, there are Johns in my family. They're there, but it was just again biblical, old generation, and probably a relative being evoked with that. So I don't know. My name's Wooly. What the fuck am I supposed to say? Jesus.
Yeah, it's cool.
Uh,
Hey, guess what, Wooly? I've never confused your name for someone else's in my whole life.
yeah, that's true. It's not the only metric to go on.
It
you
is.
know, it
I
really,
just realized I have never called a person named John in my entire life. This opinion predates this thought by a huge amount. I've literally called them Johnny, Jimmy, Joey, like every conceivable variation.
I mean, it really could have just stopped it. John DiMaggio and Joe DiMaggio are pretty close. You can't blame me for messing that up, but here we
No,
are.
their parents were wrong.
All right.
That's why Joey, what's his name? Joey Jim Bob? Joey Jojo Shabadoo, is that his name?
Shabadoo.
Yeah, that dude's great. Also, no, that's the big one. Girls don't have a name that's that common, do they?
I mean, Mary Sue is self-insert, but it doesn't quite work as a John Smith, so they just say Jane Doe.
Yeah.
You can actually go look at, there's a GIF on, I think it's Data is Beautiful, which is a really fun spot to get cool graphs and stuff. But it was in America from the 60s until now, the most popular name in every state. And it shows you the waves they go through as they start as the Marys take over, and then the Catherines take over, and they go through a bunch of biblical names, and then a book comes out and influences everything. And then it like,
oh man, I'm thinking about like the way, like the astonishing number of Jessica and Amandas and
90s
that I knew in school.
Yes, in the 90s, Jessica, Amanda, a lot of that got really, really huge. And
there were tons of Ashleys.
Yep. But what happens is a book, movie, or a TV show drops and creates a wave of people just copying names of a character. And you can see it on the effects because those once they start hitting late 90s, you see the names turn into Isabella. And I'm like, what the fuck? Oh my God,
new.
Twilight.
Oh, yeah.
Twilight had an impact on the baby names.
Jacobs in there. You get some fucking Edwards.
And you move on and you start seeing like things that are influenced by, oh, this movie came out or this show came out, you know?
I think that the takeaway on that was like, we've had this discussion before when Khaleesi was happening.
Of course, Daenerys, yeah.
And Daenerys, and it was like I naming your kids after like a character you like isn't the worst thing in the world unless they're Goku or Sephiroth or some shit. But like you should probably wait until that character is done.
That's it. Be sure of the complete arc.
Which is why it was extra crazy, like wildly insane, that there were people being named Atticus like 60, 70 years after To Kill a Mockingbird came out, only for the sequel book to come out and be like, Atticus Finch was actually secretly super racist. Like, oh,
see, like
that sucks.
For me, it's the fear of like, let's say you get a tattoo of something you really like, and then fast forward a decade and you have to put a bracket and an asterisk and says, okay, only part 2 though.
There are a lot of people out there with fucking Metallica tattoos from fucking 96 and prior.
Yeah, just like you have to update it by putting like a tombstone and then have a death date, and that's the year that it stopped. No, we don't count anything after this. So, yeah.
I still think my favorite band tattoo of all time is the one that fucking Homer has on his arm for the Starland vocal band. Something
I don't remember.
You'll carry with. So he says, "That's right. It's whoever. It's a tattoo will let you remind you that you love something forever." And then he rolls up his arm, and it's a Starland vocal band. He goes, "Starland vocal band, but they suck."
Shout outs to season 4 of Westworld being the final, as they're not coming back for a 5th season. There was.
I didn't even know there was a. Oh man, I didn't even know.
And Aaron Paul joined the cast for a minute. Yeah, they wanted to wrap up the story with season 5, and HBO was like, "Nah, you're done."
Okay, good.
Fuck out of here, bro.
Just shut up.
No. Anyways, speaking of
1-season show,
fantastic. Speaking of things getting killed off, this is a fun one. So, I don't know if you know much about Signalis, but
I don't know.
it's a gacha game, and it is basically it's been active for a while. So it's going to be coming to an end soon. They're shutting down servers. So far, Taiwanese servers are going to be shutting down as primarily. And Yoko Taro, of course, never one to let an opportunity slip by, is taking the taking the opportunity here to where the game servers are going to shut down, and that's not good enough. So he's created content which will be the final mission of the game that the players can go on. Will have a final cutscene that forces players on the server to log out, deletes their save, and never allows them to return.
So
it's a special event, and it's just he sees that the servers are shutting down and says, time to create the content that will fucking kill your save, because
I don't know.
I can't let this opportunity go.
But he actually wanted to do something like this for FF14 during that crossover.
I think you told me about this.
And like Yoshi P and the other staff were like, "We will kill you. You cannot fuck with people's characters in a game like this. Like, we'll cut you." This is really funny and it is cool. I think he should stop doing this gimmick for a while. It went from something that was like absolutely crazy and impactful, and you could never imagine a game doing it, to, okay, wow, you did it again. That was really great. This is like the 5th time.
Yes.
This is too much. But
you have to understand, he loves it and he hates you. It's I mean, I will say this, if the servers are just going to shut down anyway, that is a pretty fun way to add a little narrative bang send off to the what is otherwise just going to be a moment where, you just suddenly click and you can't log in anymore, right? But yeah, just he's been overseeing the game, and I guess the moment they say that, like, all right, time to shut this down, he's gonna have to create that proposition, and of course, if you do choose the forced save deletion ending, you will be rewarded with the true ending.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If you want to see the true ending, that's how you have to do it. It is great. It is great. Like, again, he loves it and he hates you, so shut up. Just stop playing then. Don't enter his world if you don't want to play by his rules.
I guess you're right. That being said, is this game even old? Like, I feel like it's only a year or two old.
I don't know.
Depressing that it would be shutting down and all your JPEGs are gone.
Well, it's shutting down on the Taiwanese server so far. I guess they're going to follow. It's 2017.
5 years? That's not so bad.
For a gacha.
2 years for North America. Ooh.
But it's not. It's only, again, the shutdown is not on all servers just yet.
Okay.
So might continue for a bit. If enough people sacrifice their saves, we will extend the server time. I mean, dude, like, if that was in the game, like, you have to throw your character into the fire to keep it going, and like everyone's death creates another 24 hours of game time. Like,
I can only think of one game that would actually fulfill that dramatically perfectly, and it would be Dark Souls.
Well, throw them into the fire, right?
Yeah.
That's literally it. That'd be incredible. That would be incredible. Keep the servers up, Yeah. In a gacha game, admittedly, it can get pretty wild if you've spent a lot of money and if you wailed on the game, Anyways, good job, Yoko Taro. Keep it up. And moving along, A couple of things. So one, as we touched on earlier, we saw that there was a logo dropped on Square's Twitter for Symbiogenesis, and
Oh
everyone
yeah,
goes, hold on a minute. That's the word that kicked off Parasite Eve,
sure
because
is.
that's what they use to describe when two separate organisms form a single new organism. It's from the novel, and okay, what are we doing here? The font for Parasite Eve, that's cool.
Ooh, what could
And
it
then,
be?
well, if you head on down to the official Symbiogenesis PR page, you'll see the announcement with a fancy logo that straight up tells you that it is an NFT collectible art project. Untangle the story, spring 2023.
Okay, so we're gonna move on.
The fart in the wind
Mm.
collapsed so quickly. And I have to say that I'm quite impressed, because there's nothing more perfect than immediately underneath the announcement is somebody who said, "Don't care, everyone, check out my combo I made while learning Sin and Exerd." And this dude does some sick fucking just frame Sin combos right in the replies.
That's
It's
great. That's
it's
good. I like
yo,
that.
he does fucking Beak driver from the tip, which is a one frame link. It's amazing. I'm quite impressed with it. It was a really good combo video. And then every other reply underneath that, you can't even read any replies, because they're
Mhm.
all automatic bots that are advertising their own NFT drops.
Oh, perfect.
Because since Symbiogenesis did hashtag NFT, all the bots found the tweet and then just hit it up. So the all replies are just complete nonsense fucking ads for other shit, except for this one king doing his Beak
Yeah,
driver loops.
it's really funny how every NFT announcement is like immediately, even by its own metrics, ruined by all the other freak ass NFT vultures coming to crypto kill your dick, like just eating each other, desperate for those last final scam dollars.
Because an eyeball that might be interested in this might also scroll down.
Remember,
And
if you slurp this ape, you get 3 apes.
I mean, it's yeah, like that's the part, is like, you don't have to talk about how disappointed everyone is in Parasite Eve news coming to a wet fart conclusion here. It just comes down to the fact that there's no genuine reply to their announcement. All the replies are bot ads for other
Not even a
NFT
single, oh,
systems.
cool.
Like, incredible. So, well done, guys. You're doing it. That's how you save Parasite Eve. Or that's how you keep it where it was, in exactly where
That
it
game
was.
that has like one really good game and one pretty good game.
Two's yeah, no, come on. 1 and 2 together, you
Two
know.
is not as good as one, but it's still pretty good.
There's some cool stuff in it. It's
There's also
enjoyable.
some not cool stuff.
No, but it is enjoyable. It is enjoyable. Um Meanwhile, speaking of Squeenix, so the company formerly known as Square Enix Montreal, just 2 weeks ago, I want to say, they renamed to Onoma, and that was supposed to, I guess, indicate that they would no longer be, carrying Squeenix stuff, because they were bought out by Embracer. Well, they've now shut down. And
Good.
alongside that comes, a number of cancellations and some other news about what's happening with Square Enix Montreal. So, originally, they were the teams that worked on Hitman Sniper, Hitman Go, Lara Croft Go, and Deus Ex Go. And some of that staff is going to move over to Eidos Montreal, which is going to continue. And they were apparently, working on a Stranger Things inspired Kids on Bikes game.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been canceled. So, oh well. Yeah, I don't know. The Go games were not bad, and Hitman Sniper was pretty fun as well. So that's a bummer. But if this is the direction Embracer is going with, then so be it. Apparently, there's confirmation that some of the staff is going to move over. They're going to be working on a new IP, a new Deus Ex that's very, very early, as well as something working with Xbox and Fable. So, yeah, that's.
I just get like, hey, here's your studio name. You're canceled. Like, the shit probably hadn't even finished going through by the time they made the decision to fucking shutter the studio.
I mean, a name change into a cancellation is like signs of like, oh shit, emergency decisions being made given the financial analysis of everything, right?
Yeah.
Because before a merger, you're going to have someone sit down and go, what's the valuation of all these things? And then you finish the merger, and then you're going to go, okay, now that we have it, let's do that again, And no, I mean, if the staff is going to land over at Eidos Montreal, then that's cool. There's hopefully again, like they are able to get most of them. It doesn't specify all, certainly, so some people are going to be out of jobs there, but that sucks. The idea of a Stranger Things inspired kids on bike concept does sound kind of fun. Just on premise. So I'd be down for something like that, but of course it depends on the genre and everything. But just the idea of it is like, oh yeah, I could see that being interesting. Anyway, big shakeups happening over there. Where the ass groove that I made in the chairs might still exist.
Not anymore. They're going to burn it down. They're going to burn down your ass groove.
Is anyone still a Fable fan?
The last good Fable game was Fable 2 in like 2006.
Kind of feels. Wasn't there a spin-off thing?
No.
Okay.
There was a Connect thing.
The coolest thing about Fable is Joe Chen's artwork. Yeah.
The Fable series is the Star Ocean of Fable. Does that make sense to anyone but me?
Fable is the Star Ocean of Fable?
Yeah. Because, like...
it's its own Star Ocean?
Yeah, because Fable 2 is the only good one. And, like, 1 is, like, cool but kind of jank, and everything after that was terrible, and that's just like Star Ocean.
Okay.
Star Ocean 6 is good? Okay, well, fine. Take that joke back 3 weeks.
Like... Is 13 Sentinels the Star Ocean world-changing revelations except done good?
No.
Okay.
No, well, it's just good.
But what about that one part?
In what?
Where Star Ocean just fucking decides to...
I still can't believe they never rolled that back. I still can't. I can't believe it. Like I've never seen a series make like a universe annihilating twist that like ruins everything, not walk it back for like 10 to 15 years. Like that's the craziest part by far.
Yeah, now I'm just thinking about whatever you're talking about with Bayo, but whatever. I'm not gonna go.
Oh, they're gonna walk it back. I'm telling you that right now.
Well, the thing is the franchise walk back idea is like there's always a moment where you have the announcement to the sequel to the big world changing thing or franchise changing thing, and you have a choice to make, I guess, and you can either commit or undo completely. But if you undo completely, how embarrassing is it for all the events of that last game? Terrible. Looks god awful. Do you just take the hit?
I don't know. They should just pretend that Bayo 3 didn't happen. They should make a new game. They should have Bayo 4 come out and have Bayo 4 be a sequel to Bayonetta.
DMC Devil May Cry, like that. Dino showed up in All Stars Battle Royale.
Oh
like,
yeah, that was fucking weird.
He showed up in at least one other game, lest we forget. Anyways, okay, so that's what's happening over there, and that's pretty much about it. Except for, there's going to be a Nintendo Indie World Direct on Wednesday. So.
Okay, that'll be interesting. Probably.
Well,
maybe Silk Song.
It depends entirely on Silk Song. It depends I bring this up to say that maybe Silk Song. If so, then yay. But otherwise, yeah.
Oh my god.
But maybe Silk Song, though.
But maybe Silk Song, though.
Let's take some letters, then.
Hey, if you want to send it a letter, you can send a letter down to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. We've got one coming in from...
Oh my god, the fucking... The post about the Nintendo thing on the subreddit has the tag "Don't you dare expect Silk Song."
Can't stop me.
That's Australia's fault.
Here we got one coming in from. Good day, Wooly and Pat. Excited about Gundam Evolution, but I watched Wooly's stream of Gundam Evolution. This one's coming in from Nathaniel. Quite honestly, I got a kick out of it. Looks like so much fun. After the stream, I went to go get it, and I don't know where I missed the info, but I didn't realize until that point that I can't. I'm Australian, and so at this point, the game doesn't plan to launch in Australia or New Zealand until after Season 3. They'll be the last regions to get added.
Well, I mean, that makes sense.
This bothered me, and it does, but I did find humor in remembering that Australia did get colony dropped in Gundam lore, so I guess they're just being true to the source material.
Arnar!
Arnar!
That sucks.
Yeah,
I can tell you why. It's because everyone I've ever spoken to that has any dealings with Australia describes Australian internet as like the worst internet they've ever used in their entire life, and this being a completely online game, it makes sense.
Worse than Comcast?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
See, that's what's fucked is that like Australia is also the closest to the countries with the best internet.
Yeah. But it's out there in the ocean, man.
It is.
They got the dingoes eating our internet.
Agro Will, how you doing? Says,
oh, hey, Will. What's up, man?
Dear Patrick Starefish and Squid Wooly, your discussion about game reviews and analysis last week brings up some interesting aspects of product reviewing, whether or not it's art. I'm a tech journalist who reviews tons of consumer electronics, and with the exception of the occasional game, none of it can really be considered art. There's still a huge question as to how to review these products that falls along the same lines as what you talked about with games. When I review something, I have to consider two things: how good a device is in a vacuum, and what value it presents. A product might be great, but if it's overpriced, I'm generally going to ding its score. It might be less than perfect, but if it's not completely busted, and what it does what it does offer usually comes on products twice as expensive, then I'm going to look at it more favorably. That's all before diving into the stupidity of objective reviews. You both probably already know this, but maybe some of your listeners need to hear it. There's no such thing. There are unbiased reviews, which I constantly strive to present, but pure objectivity isn't a review, it's a spec sheet. I review lots of TVs, and for each one, I get precise measurements of the light output, black level, color range, and all that stuff. I use fancy equipment and everything, but that information isn't the only way to judge the picture the TV gives. Watching videos on it gives a better sense of how a TV handles shadow details, flesh tone balance, stark contrasts, and clipping. And just describing these things outside of the base test pattern is ultimately subjective, sort of. So fuck it, new term. Objectivity. If any
This is not
judgment
going to catch on. I'm not going to use this term.
any judgment call that isn't objective, because that doesn't exist once you're making an actual decision about something, but that carries the informed weight of at least trying to grasp the full context of it in an unbiased manner. Good reviews are objective. There we go.
So, while I think that term is awful,
Sorry,
and I'm not going to use it. It makes me, when he was describing like review in a vacuum versus value, part of my brain sparked off, and our talk about games and product reviews and stuff, it made me think about what is likely the least objective series of reviews possible that also can't exist in a vacuum, and that is restaurant food reviews. Right? Is the food at this restaurant good? Varies absolutely wildly to taste, right? But on top of that, I've been thinking about it like, okay, and I talked about this on my stream earlier. Let's say you go down to a fancy Michelin star restaurant, right? And it is fancy pantsy, and it is, oh my God, gourmet 5-star. And like you go in there and it's like, wow, this meal was absolutely astonishingly incredible. And it costs you $120. Right? However, across the street is a Wendy's. And you can get a full burger with fries and like a Frosty for like $14. Is that Michelin place Canadian 10 times as good as the Wendy's? I don't think it's 10 times as good. You should have to put that in your restaurant review. When you review a fancy restaurant for a newspaper, you should tell people that there's a McDonald's or a Burger King or a Wendy's just by, and that's a way better deal.
Well, keep in mind, of course, that Michelin rated restaurants, like, well, it depends, because if you're doing it, when you review secretly, you review secretly, but if it's not, then meals can be comped by anybody who's known as a fancy food reviewer, so the price doesn't factor in, right?
The people saying I'm getting ripped off for $14 at Wendy's, I'm in Canada, dude, and I just picked a random number.
I said that's why I said Canadian dollars, because they're gonna hear $14 American is way more than $14 Canadian.
We're at like fucking, what is it, like 64 cents to the USD right now or something?
Now, you don't have to analogize too hard, though, because lest we forget, hey, streamer, would you like a code for this game?
Yeah, I would.
Here you go.
Yeah.
If this is a code, it is the $150 premium bundle edition.
Yeah, I don't care about any of that shit.
Yeah, I know. But, like, you're getting that right off the bat.
Dude, you know what? My favorite, because we deal with codes and like asking for shit from publishers all the time, and they're like, sometimes they're like, do you want us to send you the $400 statue version of this? And I'm like, can I just get the code a day before it comes out? Like that's all. That's it. That's all I care about. Like, don't you want the fancy? No, I don't care. Just send it to me the day before.
Pretty much.
What, I'm going to get the big statue version so I can throw it right into the fucking trash because that shit's cringe?
I'm not gonna when you don't ask for it and you end up with a Ghost of Tsushima mask, I'll take it. It's a cool mask, but it's definitely not what I'm here for or what I need. Yeah, no, drop a code.
I would rather buy the game and get permission to stream it 2 days early than them send me a code.
That being said, the Windjammers bag with the wristband, headband, fucking wife beater, and frisbee is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, and also Disco Elysium sent me that "Fuck the World" hoodie, which is pretty cool.
Oh, did they? That's
Yeah,
sick.
but
So there you go. So then, no,
I
it
also got the
depends.
code the day before the game came out.
That's fine, but it all depends. Sometimes it's awesome, sometimes it's pointless, and it all depends on whether or not the thing is something that's cool and that we care about it. So, yeah. Good
They should
one,
have a
Will.
Wendy's index for fancy restaurant reviews.
See, the problem is that you love Wendy's as your fast food choice, but like not everybody thinks Wendy's is the best. Like that's
You know what? You know what? The garbage food index.
sure. Yep.
Is there a nearby place you can get decent garbage food for cheap?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Back in Montreal on fucking René Lévesque near the fucking bars, there was this fucking shawarma place next to the gas station that was open till fucking 2 a.m. It's the one that had that fucking weird ass monkey burger that was like 20 patties.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever been there. It was fucking stupid. That food fucking was awesome trash food.
Yeah.
It was terrible good, terrible awful food. And it was like maybe 100 feet away from like some ritzy shit.
Yeah, like Bustan is a nice classic, like
Yeah.
super good shawarma. Absolutely, no, that's understood, and I think that's also part of the reason why dudes like Bourdain and fucking Guy Fieri blew up is by going like, yeah, you can also find these incredible like non-Michelin rated trash food places that are super duper good.
You know what that reminds me of, Wooly? You know how you will go to that really incredibly excellent pizza place outside of town sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
That's good pizza, right?
Great.
But sometimes you're sitting there and you're like, I want bad pizza.
I haven't had that craving in years, but I know,
you know
exactly what you're talking about. Yes, the dollar pizza craving, the Madonna pizza craving, that fucking garbage 99-cent slice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, gross.
Yeah.
Too greasy. Ew.
No, I know exactly what you mean. It's out of my system, and I feel like I kicked a fucking like habit. Like I feel like like something destructive to the body no longer goes in. But I know it. I know it. There's a time. There's a time.
Oh, I love it.
Anyways, all right, that'll do.
That'll do. Have a good week, everybody. Enjoy your bad pizza.